England. How is everyone today?
Great.
Sleepy, soggy,
Yeah, soggy.
soggy. That's a good one. It is a soggy week coming up into this weekend, but don't worry, these ladies are about to light a fire under your business today. We have a powerhouse in the house today to talk to you guys about delivering your value prop. So we've got Rhonda, we've got Virginia, we've got Jamie, and they have so much content to bring you. A few shameless plugs this weekend, guys. Mega Camp tickets are live for Mohegan Sun. Snag it. Psst, 80s party the first night. Psst, 80s party the first night. There are costume ideas on the website. I had nothing to do with that. I'm a little disappointed we're dressing up, as you can tell. Just saying. Just saying. Grab your tickets. Grab your t-shirts right away when you grab your tickets. And if you didn't see my note in the channel, there's a giveaway happening on the Growth Call Monday you have to be present for. So go time block that bad boy. We've been learning about time blocking. Go get it. Go get it. 2 o'clock. Put it in your calendar every Monday. Got to be present to win. So, ladies, value proposition, my fave. One of my faves. Take it away. Have a fabulous Ignite, and we'll see you on the Zoomies.
Thanks, Brooke.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Welcome, everybody. As Brooke mentioned, I'm Virginia Frost. I'm with the Keller Williams Coastal Lakes and Mountains office in coastal Portsmouth in southern Maine. And we have tons of content to throw at you guys today and lots of interaction. So hopefully you guys are ready to move and shake with us and not make us just talk to each other the entire time, because nobody likes that. So hopefully we can bring you some energy in your life and in your business. Jamie, you want to say who you are and where you're from, and then we'll kick this off with Rhonda too?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name's Jamie Camrada, and I am a team leader in the Andover Market Center. I've been a team leader for almost 8 years, and I'm wicked excited because I think the value proposition topic is one of my favorite, because if you don't have a value proposition, you really don't have anything. So this is like a really important day for all 32 participants, and so we're really excited to kick it off. And I'll pass it on to Rhonda.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Rhonda Messenborg, and I am the team leader at Keller Williams Coastal in Rhode Island. I'm super excited to be here. I'm really excited to be teaching with Virginia and Jamie today. They are two of my favorite people, and I think we're going to have a great day today. And Jamie's right. Your value proposition is so important to your business. I think it's one of the most challenging things sometimes to come up with. So we're going to do it together. So when everybody leaves here today, you're going to know what your value proposition is, and you're going to be able to communicate that to your clients. So we are super excited. It's going to be a great morning. So take it away, Virginia.
Yeah. Well, welcome, everybody. Again, we're talking about your individual value proposition today and how you're going to deliver that to your proposed clients and to deliver that to signed clients. So what I want to start out with is, anybody raise your hand if you've been in all the other sessions, or at least one other session of Spark so far in this session, in this series. Perfect. We've got a lot of people here. I'd love to call one of you out, not specifically, but I'd love for one of you guys to share some gratitude around your learning experience so far. Does anybody have something to share real quick? This is the participation part of...
I do.
100%.
All right.
I'm fairly new, a couple of weeks, and the first couple of classes I was just I was there, I was listening, it didn't make sense as it goes on. And yesterday was the first one that really hit and said, hey, I'm starting to get it. And this has helped me a ton so far. And thank all you guys who are helping me. It's great.
Awesome, Arthur. Well, thank you for sharing. That's what we're here for, you guys, is to help you grow a big business. Wednesday, real quick.
Just as far as the initial first 1 or 2 sessions were especially helpful as far as setting goals and sort of planning as far as vendors and leads and the lead generation model and things like that. I found very helpful. It really got me thinking, my head, kind of spinning all the time, thinking about, I woke up in the middle of the night and I'm like, oh yeah, there's another person I can add to my, lead list. So it's been very useful, very helpful.
I love that. We got to train our brains how to always be in lead generation for sure. And just someone, if you could just share real quick, are you guys encountering any challenges and that we might help you work through today? I know I am challenged on a daily basis just by waking up in the morning. So, all right, well, you guys are all perfect and you know everything. So why are we here? Let's move on. So basically just gonna give you a quick overview and then we're gonna get right into the content. We're here today to help you define your personal value and professional value proposition to your clients. We're gonna help you define your value. We're gonna go through 3 aspects of service: know and state your value. How are you communicating that and delivering that, physically delivering that value to your clients? So that's our roadmap for the first section of the day. And then we're going to help you guys build some habits. So we're going to go through building your database, some script practice, and some lead generation. How does that sound, guys?
Good.
Sounds good?
Mhm.
All right, so your value proposition. It's a simple and precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working with you. Rhonda, do we have slides?
Yeah, I will share my screen and we will get the slides up. You got it.
Let's get those up there so we have a visual.
All right. The present thing. Let me move us out of the way. There we go. Okay, everybody can see my screen?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. All right, so basically, we're not going to read a lot of these slides today, guys. That's why they're in front of you. That's why you also have your participant packages. We're here to guide you through how to wrap your brain around and work through creating your own value proposition. So it's not going to be one of those, you know, the peanuts, wah, wah, wah. It's going to be more interactive and more helping you discover your own value proposition and putting it down on paper. So you're going to physically have something to walk away with today, which is what we all want. But basically, it's a simple and precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working with you. It should clearly convey all the things that you will do to earn the fee that you charge, and your value proposition is a covenant between you and your customer. And guys, a quick question: how will having prepared your value proposition help you move from leads to contracts to closed? What is the importance of a value proposition to you guys as you stand right now?
I see it as
You go.
I see it as a way of being able to present the values that I have to a client, especially as a new agent. Whereas, you know, the first thing they say is, why are we going to go with you when there's an agent down the street who's got 10 years experience?
Yeah, exactly. It's a competitive market out there. There's a lot of agents. We need to find what individually defines you and sets you apart from the rest. And how are you going to personally take care of that person and make them feel cared for? Thank you.
See, I think a lot with the value thing, even if you are an experienced agent, nowadays we don't really have like information that, like back in the day, you guys, you know, realtors had the information. So it was like, oh, I got to go to one of these guys. Now everything's on the internet. Everyone has a DSLR camera. Even the iPhone takes pretty good cameras, pretty good photos rather. So, you know, my whole thing is even the experienced agent, like, you know, someone's paying 6%, let's say, of their home's value. I mean, yeah, it goes up, but still that's a big chunk. It's more than they pay for usually anything else besides a medical bill. And that you can finance. So that's kind of what I think. I mean, just from my own personality, like if I was going to sell my $1 million house, I would, and you know, I assume if you have $1 million house, and it's like, oh yeah, take $80,000. I don't care. You know, you're kind of like, no, I want to, like, no, I would rather blow that in Vegas than on a realtor. So that's just how I think about it. I'm like, oh God, how can I, of course, you know, we save them. Okay. How much are the legal fees going to be when something could happen? So that to me is like the value stuff, knowing all the behind the scenes things to throw out that they aren't thinking of, that I'm not even thinking of, like, oh, but what about if this happens? And that's what I always get hung up on. I'm like, uh-oh, especially if you're new.
I mean, above and beyond our level of service, we're almost an insurance policy for them, right? We're gonna guide them through this transaction. We're gonna, you know, be there, promote their best interests above all else. I mean, you guys just got out of, you know, your pre-licensing class. They drill that into you. But above and beyond that, you are their guide through this process to keep them from falling through in many different points during facilitating the contract and the deal. Guys, we're also gonna, the 3 aspects of service. Jamie, did you want to jump in?
Yeah. So, like Virginia said too, and Anthony, thank you so much. This is a very, we want you guys to participate. So we have 3 hours together and we're here to guide and help you. So the 3 of us with the experience together, we're here so that the time that you leave here, and Anthony, you said it too, and a gentleman at the beginning about, you could be here, you could have just gotten your real estate license and been here for 1 week. And we're going to help you define the value proposition with the things that you learned today about buyers and sellers. And so with the 3 aspects of service, number 1, the purpose. So knowing the purpose of the real estate profession. And that's a general knowledge. Okay. So as you start drinking through what I call the fire hydrant of the Keller Williams learning, the first time you take Ignite, it's going to be overwhelming because this is something as an adult, you don't know what you don't know. And it's like going back to school. And so with anything, you're going to probably take this again, or we encourage you to rewatch each of these episodes and to really read the packets to understand what the purpose of real estate is. And it's not just to help buyers and sellers. Okay, so your knowledge about the market, your due diligence, your care, obedience, your fiduciary responsibilities to to your clients is very important. We're going to talk about the value proposition. So for buyers, what is your value that you add? Not just the internet. And I know that Anthony mentioned that. Yes, unfortunately, at the fingertips, we can get a lot of information, but we still have information in your MLS. We still have information with the sellers and the buyers that other people don't have that are not on the computer. And that's what we're going to be talking about as well. And then we're going to talk a little bit about your fiduciary responsibilities and putting your clients above all else, and hopefully keeping your E&O down and not getting sued. So, okay, so I think we're going to move on to the underlying purpose of real estate. So for buyers, okay, and you can take notes in your packet if you guys have it. But for your buyers, it's about you finding the right home at the right time with the least amount of problems. And obviously in this market right now, that's very hard to do because there's multiple offers and every buyer is pre-approved, but there's about 20 to 30 offers. Is anyone experiencing that? Have you actively gone out to either do open houses or you're working with buyers and you've experienced the multiple offer situation yet?
Yep. Yeah, quite a few times.
Exactly. And so finding the best price is going to be hard because it might be listed right now at 500, but it's going for 525. Okay. And with the least amount of problems, that's really hard to do. But as a organized client and as an organized agent, that's our job to set the expectations and the standards of what the buyer will need moving forward. And so for sellers, what do you think the purpose is for sellers? What do they want specifically?
The best price.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think some sellers are a little bit unrealistic. They just want a house and they don't really understand that, the house might not appraise, or so they're not really prepared for that, even if they do get an accepted offer.
Because for them, it's about netting the money, correct? There's only one reason why someone is selling their property other than the purpose of, I want to be next to my grandkids, I want to downsize, I want to move to Florida. It's about how much they're going to net in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. Okay, so now we're going to move on, and Rhonda, we're going to talk about some stuff about more of the purpose of real estate.
Okay, so and also, I know we had talked about the fiduciary a little bit, but also the theme between the purpose of working with buyers and the purpose of working with sellers, that theme in there is that in the least amount of time with as little problems as possible. And that is really where your value is going to come, where our value as agents come in. And that from there is where we're going to build our value propositions, because That is what is important to both buyers and sellers. That is the reason that we sell. That's the purpose of it. And so you are going to determine what is unique about you and the value you bring that affords a buyer and a seller to get to the end game on both of those. And then talking about functionary versus fiduciary, we all have a fiduciary obligation to our clients. And what that means is that we're not just functionaries where we're filling out paperwork and we're putting contracts together. As a fiduciary agent, we are responsible for putting our clients' best interests above everything, including our own. So that is something that also is something that's going to give your clients, it's going to give them comfort, and it's going to make them want to work with you if you can portray that to them and get them to know you and feel comfortable and be able to trust you. Because this is, as we all know, it's a relationship business. It's all about trust. And as Jamie and Virginia already said as well, there are a lot of us, there's a lot of agents out there. And so how do you set yourself apart from all the other agents, whether you're brand new in the business, whether you have some years of experience? It's always about making sure that you can set yourselves apart to your clients, so that way they trust you and want to work with you.
Before we move on to this, let's talk a little bit about the value proposition. I want to put some questions out to you guys. Can you guys, like, if you, without going through this class, like what you as a consumer, right? So if you were a buyer or a seller, what would you expect your real estate agent to be providing you? What would you expect your wall of value to be to you?
Knowledge of the market.
Knowledge, okay. Anybody else?
Not leaving me hanging, keeping me up to date with everything that's going on.
So communication.
Yep.
I would expect it to be easy. If I'm the seller, I would expect everything to be easy. So I want it to be, I don't want to have to worry about, when is it closing? When is this happening? When is the appraisal? Things like that. That's the whole reason we pay the premium, or we get the premium, is because we're there and we are the stand-in for our sellers and our buyers, and we take care of the crazy.
Take care of the crazy. I love that.
I like that. I like that.
Whenever I bought my house, I had a fantastic realtor who did that for me. And it just, we had so many issues with our mortgage processors, and she took care of all of it. And it was fantastic.
So obviously that agent knew her value proposition and she set the expectations and the standards. That's really important that you just mentioned that. So as a real estate agent, you are the one that puts out the fires. You're the buffer, whether you're on the buy side or the sell side. And we're gonna discuss those as we separate both buyers and sellers. And so that's fantastic to hear that the professional standard in the industry, that's one of the value propositions on why they're hiring you to keep that without, big fires happen. You don't want to be squirting them with like a little squirt gun. We want to minimize these fires. So I love that you had a great real estate agent.
Whenever I'm buying or selling something, the thing that frustrates me the most is when the person I'm dealing with isn't listening to what I'm saying. And they're just saying, they're discounting what I have to say and telling me why I'm wrong, or giving me their opinion without incorporating, or listening to what I want or need and explaining a better solution. They're just discounting it and moving on to something else. So really to listen to people and to make them feel like they're being heard, even if you're not going to follow through on that route, you still need to, listen to it, hear it, and explain a different process.
Yeah, we need to understand our audience as agents, right? Like some people have gone through, like if you have an investor client, sometimes they just drive the boat, right? But if you have someone who's never bought a property before, or it's been 10 or 15 years since they bought or sold a property, you are dealing with someone who, like you deal with all this information every day and you're a pro. But if you're dealing with someone who doesn't have that knowledge, they're turning to you for that. But you also need to validate them and understand where come to their level, understand where they are, and come with education so that you guys are going through this together. And there's no right or wrong. It says, you know, I understand your opinion is this way. Based off the market right now, this is what we need to do to best position you to get you ultimately what you want, right? So far, guys, I have market knowledge, communication, make the process easy, set expectations ahead of time, and active listening and education.
They
Awesome.
want the best price as well.
Mhm.
I feel like that's a pretty obvious one, but
Yeah. And sometimes too, yeah, they want the best price, but when it depends on what side you're on, right? So if you're with a seller, is it just price or is it conditions, right? Do they have to get out by a certain period of time? Is it the closing date? Is it, you know, the inspections? Is it appraisal? All these other layers that are here that are going to be important when you're, you know, looking at offers side by side in that multiple offer situation. And then when you're the buyer, ultimately it's, where are they comfortable being? And sometimes it's navigating the conversation from a way of like, yeah, you don't want to go 10,000 over X. However, you said to me, this is your dream home and you can technically afford 10,000 over X. What does that 10,000 over the course of a 30-year loan look like? Right. So again, it's coming in with education to come in from a different angle to make them realize that $10,000 over the course of a 30-year loan really means this for you. So it's like just further explaining the different nuances to them too.
I've struggled with that a few times with some of my buyer clients because they're like, oh, I can afford up to, hold on, sorry, never mind.
And just to go off of what Virginia and Courtney just talked about, you know, $10,000 over, I believe the 30-year fix is less than $1.50. So it's a cup of coffee a day. And so sometimes when you relate, so you're going to have all this education, but your job is to make it relatable to the buyers or to the sellers, right? Because even though the sellers bought that house whenever they bought it, they're on the sell side. So they still need to be educated as to the 2020. Okay, so 2020, 2021, not 1989 when they probably purchased the house or bought a house. And so things have changed. Fiduciary responsibilities have changed. Negotiations have changed. The market has shifted. Different language will come at them when they accept an offer. And so to Courtney and Virginia's point, it really is about the negotiation tactics and making them understand and relate to it so that they make the best choices.
And Jamie, I think that we were going to touch on too, like and you guys does everybody have the participant guide in front of them, just so I know?
Yeah.
I can put the link in the chat if you need me to. Do you guys want me to, does anybody not have it and needs a copy of it? Yeah?
Can you put it in the chat?
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna just stop share for a quick moment and so I can go out and find it.
Yeah, because we're going to reference this participant guide. There are lists of different value propositions for buyers and sellers. So it's a good resource for you. And there's going to be activities. So just have it on, you know, another screen if you could. So if we tell you to reference it, you can just go review because there might be some activities around that too today.
Yeah. All right, so while Rhonda's putting the link up, so right now we're talking about buyer's wants and the buyer's value. And so how many of you have purchased a home and you've been a buyer? Okay, so this is participation time. In terms of what a buyer might want, throw out, what do you want to see from your real estate agent? If you're picking a real estate agent, what do you want to see about them that would make you choose them from the buyer point of view? Okay, Arthur?
All right, basically what I wanted, and when we bought this house, it wasn't through Keller Williams, but she was a great agent. And what she did the best for me was she sat down with us and basically said, what are your needs and what are you looking for? And she said, then give me a couple of days. And she says, I guarantee you, I'll take you to a bunch of houses. And she said to us right at the beginning, I'm going to take you to a few houses. And if you're not happy with them, tell me so I can fine tune it. And she did. She made it so comfortable for us doing it. And actually, she stopped us from probably doing something stupid because before we found this house, we found a house we really liked.
Mhm.
But even then, the market was still up and there was a lot of people who wanted this house and the price kept going up and kept going up. And we had the extra money to pay. And she finally said, look, you gotta take a step back.
Yeah.
Is it really that much worth it to you?
So,
Backed off, we didn't do it. And guess what? The house we found now, we love even better. So it was great. And that's what I'd like to give to somebody wanting to buy a house.
so based on what you just said, I would write two things down if you don't mind. One is JAQ, just ask questions. So you need to set the expectation. So that's you talking a lot. But if you don't ask questions, then you're going to make assumptions about what your buyers and sellers both want. So setting expectations for your buyers and asking them, what are your wants? What are your needs? And wants and needs are two different things. Okay. So I might want a fenced in yard. I might want hardwood floors. I might need hardwood floors because I have a handicapped child and we can't have carpet. Okay. I'm going to take that into consideration when we're looking at homes, even if they have rugs, because the cost of changing it over hopefully will be the benefit of the cost of what we negotiate to get the price of the house for them to do that. I want a garage, but we don't need a garage. So setting the expectations with your buyers is important. And so far, those of you that have shared, you've all said that your real estate agents have asked you a lot of questions, which means they're defining your value. They're trying to figure out what your value and what your wants and needs are before they define their value, that they can help you negotiate, get the best terms and conditions in the short amount of time as possible and make you happy. Make sense?
Yep.
Okay. So a little bit of the value. Virginia, Rhonda, you want to jump in on that one?
Sure, absolutely. So I can jump in here. So what do buyers value? So like talking about, now we've talked with them about our expectations and finding out what's important to them as far as what they need and what they want. So what do they value? So now what is their value? What are they now looking for from you? For the profile in 2018 from NAR, things that are most important to buyers are your reputation. It's the fact that you're honest and you're trustworthy. Trust is the most important thing. Here they have listed that if they're a friend or a family member, you're going to hear that a lot. Sometimes you're going to be talking with somebody and they're going to say, you know what, my sister just got a real estate license, so I have to work with her. And maybe in some cases that is a great idea. However, it's a conversation to have. Because perhaps there is a different value that you bring to the table that is actually going to benefit them in the end. And at the end of the day, if somebody says, nope, you know what, I'm going to work with my best friend, I'm going to work with my sister, that's okay. Yet you still want to have that ability to have that conversation. And like Jamie said, by asking questions, you're going to determine what is important to them. And you're going to determine if you are a good match to work together. Because you have to you have to come together. You are a team with your clients as you get through that transaction. They need to be able to trust you. You also need to be able to trust them. So that way that the transaction goes smoothly. So trust, honesty, being honest, and also knowledge. They want to know that the areas that they're looking in, that you have knowledge about that area, you can answer questions. Now, for some of you, you might be working in, I know for us in Rhode Island is a very small state. And so typically a lot of agents here will cover from one end of the state to the other. You don't know every single neighborhood. You're not going to know every single neighborhood, every single school system. It's impossible. Yet your clients need to feel comfortable that you are going to go and find that information and that you're going to answer all of their questions. And it can just be as simple as them asking you a question and saying, you know what, I don't know that off the top of my head. However, I'm going to have that answer to you in the next couple of hours, or just give me till the end of the day and I will have that answer for you. And then following through and make sure that you get them that information, because that is what is going to build trust.
And I think that's really important, Rhonda. Like a lot of people, when they first get started, they're like, well, I don't want to put myself out there because I'm afraid that I don't know all the answers, right? I've been in real estate for 5 years. I don't know all the answers, but I have no problem telling someone that, That's an amazing question. And I don't know the answer to that. I will find that out for you and I will get back to you. And then just the honesty that you have with people, that you didn't make it up. You didn't try to just put something in there to appease them and then risk being wrong. You respected them enough to say, hey, you know what? I don't know that, but it's important to me to give you the right information. So let me get back to you on that. And it's just the way you're communicating with people helps build that trust, like Rhonda said.
Right, exactly. So aside from these, what are some other things that you think that buyers value as far as their real estate agent goes?
I actually want to ask Arthur this. Arthur, did you consider like the cost at all? Were you like, oh, but you know, if I use you, it's going to be 2% as opposed if I just put in an offer and maybe have 2% to negotiate with. Did you consider that? Because I wonder, like, when you try to get buyers, like, are they thinking? I know obviously listing, they're thinking about the cost of the agent, the brokerage fee.
I
But I
did.
feel like buyers don't really think about it as much.
I didn't. I mean, I did to a point. Obviously, but it's a big purchase, like you said earlier. It's one of the biggest things you're going to do. But we talked to a couple different people before we picked the agent we picked, and it was more important for me to be comfortable with her. I suppose if somebody said, you know, I'll do it for 3%, and somebody else said 6%, well, are they double good? I don't know.
Yeah.
But for a 0.5%, feeling comfortable was more important to me, and being able to trust this person was more important to me than almost anything else.
I think that's a great question. And Anthony, I want to make sure that as real estate agents, cooperation and compensation are two different conversations. Okay, so as a real estate agent, your job is to cooperate in the real estate industry and help fiduciary responsibilities with care, obedience, and due diligence, a seller and a buyer come to terms and sell a property. The compensation conversation, I think that you're going to get more into when you go over contracts within your market centers and how to have an exclusive buyer or an exclusive listing conversation about what percentage that you're hiring them for. And I know that next week you guys are going to be digging into the buyers and the sellers and the listing presentation and working with buyers, and you'll get a little bit more information. It'll be more defined during that time. But you're right, as a buyer, just to kind of skim this a little bit, you know, when you're working with the right real estate agent, like Arthur said, and they're giving their value proposition so strong and you feel like you're part of the process and they've asked a bunch of questions and that person knows every want and need that you need. They're pushing out new properties. They're coming to market. They're showing you properties. They're there on time, 10 minutes early. They have knowledge about that property, even though they didn't list it because they've done their due diligence on the MLS or whichever MLS you are in which state. That compensation hiring process doesn't matter in the long run. And I say that because when you take the class next week, you'll learn how to roll some of these costs into prepaids back into the mortgage end, which we're not going to dive into right now. All right. But if your value proposition is strong, does it really matter what the cost is? Does it matter as a seller if I'm talking about 4, 5, 6% when a seller says, you asked me that you wanted $700,000 for your house. If we get you $700,000 in the next 2 weeks, would you be happy with that? Yes, boom. But you have to know, you have to have that knowledge. You have to have that honesty. You have to have all of that as a package, right?
I don't know as a seller, if I want $700,000 for the home, I think difference between 4% and 7% would be 21 grand. I definitely would be concerned about that as a seller.
Correct. But when you get into this class next week, you'll realize you're going to piggyback these numbers. So when you ask the seller, even though you've done your due diligence and knowledge about the neighborhood and the market, and you know that maybe this house would sell for $730, and the sellers want this, you know how to manage that expectation and you're going to know where to price it and where the value is. And again, you're not the one giving the price, and you'll learn it again next week, so I don't want to get too much into that. You'll learn these tactics of how to back in to the price that the buyers are willing to pay according to the sold results within MLS. because the sold results to a seller is what a buyer is willing to pay for that property. And if it's comparable to the property that you're listing, guys, that's where you should be pricing it. And you'll learn all of that next week with that seller, the seller presentation and working with sellers.
And I just want to challenge everybody, make some notes right now. Why don't you guys put down any skills or services that you personally offer that would align with what we've talked about today with what a buyer would want? So just take a quick second, jot some things down. Personal to you. Do you consider yourself trustworthy and honest? Do you consider yourself a good communicator? Or anything individual to you? Because these are the components that are gonna go into physically crafting your value proposition, which would go into a buyer or a seller presentation.
Phone ring here.
So now too, guys, we wanted to, and Rhonda, this was more you, but we wanted to break into breakout rooms. There is on your participant guide, page 7. What you guys are going to do is you're going to work through the skills and services that I just told you guys to jot down. And you're going to put them into phrases. You're going to put them into language that you're going to use in your individual value propositions. So you can discuss in your small groups what skills and services you would include, and then you can explain to each other how you formulated those statements to go into your individual value propositions. So if you have your camera off and you are with us, or you are listening, you are with us when you're in your breakout rooms, please consider turning them on so you guys can get the most out of your breakout session. And Jamie, how long do we want to break out for?
I think this one's a 10-minute breakout session. And just as a reminder, it is 10 minutes. If your group is stuck for some reason, then introducing yourselves and what you did before real estate, by the way, is some of those answers. So if you were in marketing, if you were an engineer, an accountant, are you going to have to know numbers in real estate? Yes. Did you do interior design? Were you a contractor? Were you in customer service or sales? Once you realize some of the values that you have that make you the best buyer agent or list agent, that's how you're going to build this language that Virginia is talking about. So we encourage you guys to really team build for the next 10 minutes.
Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to assign us to rooms. So, and then we'll call everybody back again in about 10 minutes.
Perfect.
Here we go. Does everybody have a room that's an assignment that's popping up on your screen? You can go ahead and click join room.
Now, Rhonda,
Yep.
other than David not being into a room, do you want me to go ahead and click later on mine about going into room 5?
Do you want to go into a room?
Yeah, and I haven't been invited to a room, so I don't know if anybody
I
else.
think it's because maybe because you guys were all co-hosts that it's not popping us into rooms.
But
Do
I
you
see
want to go
Jackie,
into a room?
I see Dawn, Jennifer, Macy, Joe,
Yeah,
Pam.
so I think they were all invited. Everybody's assigned to a room. They maybe are away from their computer.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find them in the screen here.
Yeah, Rhonda, just pop me into a room if you can, and I'll go listen.
Okay, awesome. Hold on, let me find you.
And just a note, we broke out at 9:37.
Okay, awesome. So it's not showing you, how do I get you into a room? Let me see if I can do this. Sorry. View chat pin. How did Jamie get into a room?
I don't know. I think she got an invite.
Oh, okay. Well, she's there. So where are you? Let me see where you are. Hold on. So I want to put you in room 8. Not joined. Yeah. So I can see the people not joined. Virginia, I don't see you in my list, which is really strange. Like you are not in like the list. Like no, I don't have anybody unassigned currently. All of these guys here are assigned, but just never joined. And I don't have you in any. So I don't know why I can't put you in. Like Jamie's in room 5. If you go under, like I went under your 3 little dots and I don't have anything there. If you go under your 3 little dots, does it allow you to jump into a room?
No, that's all right. You and I will just hang.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
So when we come back.
Yeah, so she has notes here. When we come back, I'm just going to ask for how many rooms do we have?
We have, I believe 8 rooms altogether. Yeah, we have 8 rooms altogether. There's about 5 to 6 in the room. So a couple people are not joined. So a couple rooms only actually have 2 people in them.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask for 1 AHA from each room or just like 3 AHAs overall.
Okay. Perfect. And then, and so then where are we going next? I feel like my facilitator guide. So after this, we are going to go to.
Yeah, the facilitator guide wasn't really coinciding with the slides that I was seeing.
I know.
It threw me off. That's why I was like, we're going to go back here and talk about value proposition real quick. So then what sellers want is me. So I'm just going to ask for the AHAs and then go into, you know, we've gone through what buyers want, but now we're going to go through what sellers want.
Perfect.
And we'll just blast through
I
this.
think we just go through the slides and I think the 3 of us can figure out what we need to say around everything. So then, yeah, so then after the sellers, it talks about.
Yeah, and then I'll just have them jot down some ideas of what they would be good for sellers.
Yep.
Can you see on your slide deck, is the next slide, who are your competitors?
So the next slide.
I don't know if I like stapled my thing together wrong.
I feel like, yeah, so after sellers, then we're going to who are your competitors is next.
Okay.
And then it goes on to technology. And then it goes on, so the next slide is technology, and then the next slide is the activity of create your value proposition.
Okay. Oh, David's back. All right. 3 aspects of service. What buyers want, what sellers want. Then it's who are your competitors, and then
it's your competitors, and then it's the activity of creating your value.
So where's technology?
Oh, technology is, yeah, hold on, let me go back and there again. So it is, we're going to do what sellers want, then we're going to do know your competitors, then technology, and then the activity of creating your value proposition.
My thing is completely off. David, did you get an invitation to go into a room?
I did. I had to leave a little bit. My wife had some questions for me.
Okay.
So I had my bride of 35 years. So
Aww.
I paid attention to her.
Did you want to go back into a room?
Yeah, I see the invitation is still there, and I will hit join.
Okay.
Okay,
Right.
awesome.
I'm frustrated because I know that I have the tech. I am on the tech. I'm supposed to show my command. And I don't have that slide for some reason. I printed what Jamie scanned me with the notes and I don't see it. Frustrating. I just have to open it on my other computer. And I'm gonna try to screen share real quick, just because I'm on my new Mac.
Oh,
Can you-
good. Okay.
Can you
I
see
can
this?
see it. Yeah.
Okay, because when we get into the scripts, that's what I'm gonna do, because I have them ready. All right, we're at 44 when we went in at 37, so
Yep.
we'll.
Okay, good. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, see, the ones that she scanned over doesn't have the text slides.
Yeah, I thought they were missing a couple.
That's frustrating.
All good. All right, I'm gonna let everybody know. I'm gonna broadcast a message that we're gonna be coming back in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. I'll hit it at 46 because I think it then gives everybody that minute countdown.
Okay.
I'm just gonna fill my tea up.
Yeah, see, my packet was missing the underlying purpose of real estate. That whole thing was missing.
Right, I'm gonna close the rooms. Everybody can start putting back in. It's nothing like hot tea on a rainy day, I've decided. Welcome back.
I see more faces, so people turned on their cameras.
I loved it. When I was in my breakout, we had Will. Will was joining us, and I was like, "Oh, who else is in here? I didn't even know." There's no way we can't be interactive with this powerful team right here. We're just like, let's go, let's go.
It may not be coming out willingly, but we will pull it.
We'll pull it out by 12 o'clock.
Welcome back, everyone.
All right.
How was that?
It was good. Very good.
Good.
Great.
Does
Then
It was awesome.
Great. Somebody share what you guys were talking about, what you came up with. We'd love some ahas from anyone who'd like to share.
Well, I shared what I felt were my, attributes and what I could offer. Such as I'm very resourceful. I had a business called Seniors Resource Solutions in Plymouth, Mass, where I worked with seniors primarily. So I can work with people of all age groups, but I think that would be my specialty because I did it for so many years, and I basically helped them coordinate services and find resources to stay in their homes, whatever it may be, in a obviously particularly healthcare. But I also help them transition, whether they were selling their big home and moving into a condo or assisted living. So I'm very resourceful. If I don't know, I will find out for you. Like all I have to do is mention it and boom, I'm on it. That's just how I am. But also Courtney had mentioned something about, getting personal on a personal level with people, as far as being open and whatever. But it made me think of myself and how I also am very open, but you have to have that balance where it's a client, so all of a sudden you're making a connection, you're becoming friendly, friendly level. How friendly do you become with the client where you keep that balance as far as client friendship, client and you know what I'm saying. So anyway, it was just interesting to make me think of, okay, that's something probably an area I better work on.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And also just to piggyback on that, being second career for those of us who are coming out of one career and transitioning into real estate, to really draw out from your skill set of your former career. What is it from your former career you can pull into your new career as a real estate agent?
That's a great point, Kristen. Absolutely. I mean, the experiences for our entire lives help shape who we are and the value that we bring. So yeah, absolutely.
Can we get one more? One more aha.
We have 2 pages now of people with their cameras on. There has to be one like boom moment.
I got one.
Good.
All right.
Noah in our group really inspired us because he was talking about being open and honest in your dealings with people and never cutting corners and just always, giving your best to your client, no matter what anybody else charges or anything like that. Just, be true to your word.
Love that.
And I can kind of add to that. What I was talking about is my wife and I have a client that we help on an island on Winnipesaukee. And I don't have my license yet, but the owner of the house knows that I'm going to be getting it soon. And he just appreciates all the hard work we do and our honesty. So he said, once you get that license, you're going to get the best recommendation from me. You guys have been reliable. You've been on time. You've come in bad weather. And so I don't even charge him for everything because I try to be fair, and he's giving me $100 tips here and there because he's just so appreciative of the hard work. So it's kind of coming full circle.
Yep. And that goes to show that you guys will learn with time that it doesn't matter the price point either. Lake Winnipesaukee is a beautiful area where we know the price points up there are higher. But I mean, I helped someone sell their mobile when I was still selling, and they referred me to $500,000 sellers. So because you go above and beyond to take such care and skill with people, they see that regardless of what walk of life they're from, what price point they're at, and all you need is a few raving fans and it will be the lifeblood of your business. So treat everybody with the utmost respect and care.
I want to add to that. I want you all to know the integrity and the transparency and honesty is what people are looking for. And my first open house was a $200,000 open house on the Andover Lawrence line. And it wasn't just a house, it was somebody's home. And one of our agents had a listing, couldn't do the open house. I said I would do the open house, and this open house had a lot of issues to the open house. Like it flooded, it was in a bad area, but it was still somebody's home and they wanted to sell it. And with the honesty and the integrity and the transparency that I took with the people coming into this open house, these buyers came in and they weren't looking for a $200,000 house, by the way. They wanted to go from open house to open house to open house to find the right agent that they felt had integrity and honesty, and they were transparent, so they could hire them to buy their $2 million house that they wanted. And so my first transaction, unfortunately, wasn't selling the $200,000 home. It was a learning experience, but my first transaction was the $2 million property. And there's a huge lesson to be taught there. You treat everyone regardless of the dollar amount, with those 3 words, and you'll be successful.
And that, I just kind of thought of something too, is a word that hasn't been brought up yet, is compassion.
Mm.
You know, we're dealing with people. It doesn't matter if they, like you said, if they want a mobile or if they want a $8 million lake house. Both of those individuals are people and they should be treated the same.
Agreed.
Absolutely.
So now, guys, Rhonda, you want to get the slides back up? We're just gonna
Yep.
move on to, we've been talking a lot about buyers. I want to talk to you guys briefly about and thinking critically about what sellers want.
They want the money.
You guys can't see these percentages. I don't know what's wrong with the slides, but
I think they're in the part, they're actually, if you look in your participant guide, it does follow along and you will see the percentages in there. That is on page 8 of your participant guide. So you'll see the list there, and you'll see the full list there.
so based off of NAR, the seller wants you to help them market the home to potential buyers, price it competitively, sell the home within a specific time frame, all things that Jamie's kind of already touched on, help find a buyer for the home, help with negotiation and dealing with buyers. Now, what are your guys's, and I know we went into a whole activity over this, but what are your guys's opinions and, you know, unique services and skills that you think that would also benefit a seller? Something more specific to a seller than a buyer. We
As a
touched on,
seller's agent, I feel like you really need to know your market and know comparable prices and what other homes of that size and in that location, what they would be going for, because you want to offer your client the best deal that they can get on their home.
that's right. Maybe market knowledge is, I mean, market knowledge is totally something you guys can control, right? It's something you guys can go into daily and get a pulse on. You guys have access to these resources and this information. Go on home, go to open houses. Go to other people's open houses. Don't be poaching the people who come in, because that's an issue. We'll go over that another day. But make sure, like, if you want to get into homes, that's the easiest way. If in-person home tours are available in your area, we personally have an agent here who pre-COVID did home tours. And when I first started, I went to all the home stores. So I was physically walking through homes. What is this priced at? And then I'm walking through it and I get a feel for a specific area and a specific type of home. And it's just helping. You may not have the listing yet, but you're like, okay, now I better understand what this home is worth and this is why. So market knowledge for sure when you're dealing with sellers is of the utmost importance. Anybody else?
I just feel like as a seller, you're trusting somebody. Like if I'm selling my home, I'm trusting somebody with a lot. Like that is a big responsibility for me, because so far this is the biggest purchase I've made in my life. So it's the numbers, it's knowing the market, it's, you know, all of the technical side of it, but it's also somebody that I need to be able to trust, because if I feel like they're not being truthful or they're trying to, yeah, I'll get you, you know, $800,000 for this home that you bought for 300,000, like that's not realistic. So I want somebody who's going to be real with me. Like that transparency, I feel like is really important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that goes to show, like, they're hiring you as a market expert and licensed professional, right? So they're not hiring, although trust and treating people well and customer service level is of the utmost importance, they're not hiring you to tell them what they want to hear, right? There's no benefit to anybody, seller or agent, for taking an overpriced listing. Because ultimately the seller is not going to get what they want, which is to sell their home. And you'll learn about this again, taking a listing and all this other stuff, but overpricing a home statistically over time leads to them netting less money.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you're having honest, educated conversations. Can you go to the next slide, Rhonda?
Yeah, and I just wanted to add one thing there, Virginia, too, back to what Noah had said about when dealing with your sellers, compassion is like really important as well. It's not always a happy occasion when a seller has to sell their property. And so being able to treat whatever situation there is with some compassion that really is going to go a really long way. Sometimes it's a sad occasion and that's why homes get sold, or somebody loses their job and they can't afford their home anymore. So being able to go in there and really talk to sellers on that compassionate level, I think that is something that's super, super valuable to sellers as well. So something to think about.
Which is perfect, because we're going to talk about, from a seller's point of view, the value that they're looking for when it comes to hiring an agent. And so the reputation of an agent, we've mentioned all of those words: the transparency, the trustworthy, the honesty, compassion, the market knowledge. What's the reputation of the agent? The honesty and trustworthy we talked about. Okay, friend and family member. I do want to say on the friend and family member, this is a slippery slope sometimes. And every transaction, for the most part, when it comes to residential, is emotional. On a commercial transaction, if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. It's business. Okay, you're usually selling a business, a property, not a home. But when it comes to residential, you have to set the expectations and mainstream the process of friendship versus business. And if you do that successfully, then working with friends and family members usually turns out in the most positive light. If you don't set them, then that's where it kind of gets slippery. So some sellers want to use a friend or a family member, and somebody mentioned it earlier, for a discount and compensation. But if your value proposition is strong, you don't discount your services. And you'll talk about that next week. And then your agent experience. And so many of you are just starting. And so on my breakout session, we struggled with, but I've only been in the industry for 2 weeks. Yeah, but you've been in the people industry your whole life. And it's just working with people. And most of you should have, as a new agent, a mentor or somebody that's helping you, a coach, a productivity coach, your team leader. And when you're talking with sellers and buyers, you don't need to say, well, my mentor is going to help me list your house. You can own it. And if Rhonda was my mentor, I could say, my team member, Rhonda, and I are going to assure that we get the value for your home that you want. How does that sound? I could have never sold a home, but if I come off confident, on those light, jovial conversations, not that you fake it till you make it, you just bring your personality and your knowledge, your expertise, your communication, your organizational skills, and your negotiations for something that you want them to hire you for. Everything else is a learned behavior. So what value currently, and this is where we participate, based on what you've done in the past, do you think that you would bring, and usually this is a breakout session, but we're gonna just do this together. What do you think that you have as a key factor that somebody would want to hire you? What do you think that you're great at? Or what value do you think that you bring to the table? Not all at once.
And what industry are you bringing it from? I'm curious, because we may be able to help pull something out of you that maybe you didn't know you really were good at, because you did this other career before, but you didn't realize, oh, that's applicable here.
Yeah. Jim Gibbon, I see you on the screen.
I come from a sales background, so I've got some of that negotiation skill. But I also, prior to that, was in broadcasting. So I think I have the ability to make good presentations. Mm-hmm. So whether that's a good presentation to a potential buyer, or presenting the house in a way that allows, to get the best offers. I think those are two things that are really helpful to me.
Yeah, they're great skill sets. They're great skill sets. Somebody else share what you did in the past before you dived into real estate.
Coming from EMS, I was used to dealing with people at the worst stage of their life.
Okay.
So that's to my brain here.
Okay. Let me tell you why that's going to be so valuable. There's not to the degree at which you are answering the phone, by the way, but there are going to be fires through the entire transaction, by the way. It's kind of like the Hunger Games. How many of you seen the Hunger Games? The impossible task that you are asked to do is to sell their property at the price that they want to net, or to help the buyers buy that property that's perfect, new construction, but not really, in the short amount of time as possible with as less, problems as possible. And so you're going to go through all these loops, and you have to be able to know how to navigate them. There will be many times that you're going to say, that is a great question. I will get that answer to you by end of day. I understand that you're upset about that. Let me try to fix that with the other agent, and let me get back to you. Who is just going to speak?
I was.
Awesome. Go for it.
Good morning. So my name's Falasha, and I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur for about 10 years now. I have learned how to listen to both parties and find a way to get both of them what they want without them realizing that they've actually compromised. I'm really good at customer service. I can tell you no with a smile, and you won't feel like it was really a no, because I know how to replace it with something else. So I guess that would go with the negotiating. And then I do set realistic expectations, and I'm very honest. I'm not sure that, the market changes very frequently. Let me speak with some of my other team members, and I'll get right back to you. And sometimes I can just say, I don't know. Let me get back to you. That's a great question. Actually, no one's asked that in a while. Let me find out for you, because it might have changed since the last time I had the answer or whatever. So those are some things that I think, and where I'm coming from is, like, I sold makeup. I had a makeup bar in Jamaica. I do credit score improvement here in America. And I have a lot of digital products and that sort of thing, and online and in-person stuff. So yeah. So if you can find something else to pull out of that for me, help.
I love, well, you know what? You're multifaceted and multidimensional. And so I love that, because you just owned it, Flash. Like, you just went in there and said, you know what I'm great at. And so that was a positive attribute, and you owned it. And that's what you need to bring when you're working with buyers and sellers. You're going to be a mediator, guys.
Mm-hmm.
It's your job to bring a happy buyer and a happy seller together for a transaction, but not everybody's always happy during it sometimes, because negotiations aren't great sometimes, because people might not get exactly what they imagined or what they wanted, because everybody wants instant gratification. And it's our job to set the expectations and mainstream that mediator process like you're talking about, and smooth everything over to ensure that both parties feel as though that there's a win-win for both of them.
Yeah, so I think that would go towards her value proposition immensely, just saying that I know how to communicate with people in such a way that you ultimately get what you want, and they don't feel as though they're sacrificing as much, which means that it's a win-win for both sides, which means I can get the deal across the table. Because to Jamie's point, it's like the Hunger Games, and you've got things flying at you, and things are constantly changing. I love that analogy. So it's not, and don't count on it, knock on wood, but like, you might have one deal where you're like, wow, that was really smooth and nothing went wrong. But the 95% of them are not like that. You guys are always going to have to be pivoting and communicating, and, able to communicate with both sides and have the emotional intelligence and empathy to understand where mutual parties are coming together. Like, I can understand why they feel this way, and I can understand why they feel this way. I'm hired by this party, so I'm going to, promote their best interest above all else. But being able to play devil's advocate and bring that information to your seller and say, you know what, this is where the buyer's heads are at right now. And we need to understand that when we're communicating with them, so that we can ultimately get you to where you want to be. So I think that that's a great skill, Falasha.
Thank you.
And I love what Virginia said. It's relatability factor. Even though you're working with a buyer or a seller, sometimes you have to bring them down from that cloud and have them relate to the scenario on the other side. They don't have to agree, but they have to be able to relate why the buyer is upset about this, or why the seller is upset about this, or why they're not budging on this or this. You have to be able to relate it to each other in order to make the negotiations go smoothly with mediation. All right.
Okay, moving on to the next slide.
What? Virginia, who are your competitors?
All right, who are your competitors? Where are we in the participation guide?
You're a competitor. Everybody on here, we're all competing for business.
Well, I guess that's a question to you guys. Who are your competitors? I mean, we are competing with, well, the three of us aren't competing with you, but you guys are competing with one another. You're competing with other brokerages, understanding your competition and a little bit about maybe what their value proposition would be pinnacle to creating your own, right? In what is it, Jamie? In bold, it's the 7, how many P's?
P, purposeful. Which one? Six perspectives?
I'm putting you on the spot, but it's like, not only am I going to put the sign in the yard and put it on MLS, I'm going to
Oh, right, pray. Yeah. It was like, yeah, something to pray is one of them. I think it's the last one.
Well, setting yourself apart, right? So they may, a seller might be interviewing multiple agents out there. I wouldn't, it's important to know your competitors, but I would say if you got extremely good at your value proposition, sometimes focusing on what you're good at is better than focusing on what is everybody else doing. And Jamie said it earlier, yes, price is important for the cost of your service, and you'll learn about that later, but if you're so good at your value proposition, I have teams that are going into listings and getting them for a couple percentage points above what, and we got to be careful, right? Antitrust, but above what, say, maybe whatever your perceived norm is. Okay. And they're going in at that number because they're like, I know the value of service that I offer, and I'm so good at delivering that to you that I'm worth it.
Right.
And that's why this is so important to hone and understand and be able to deliver to your people.
And I think you hit it on the head, Virginia, that, you know, it's about focusing on you and what you bring to the table. And it's not about bringing down everybody else and trying to bring up your value by putting down everybody else's. It's just about really focusing on yourself, because we're all, even though we are all competitors in a way with other agents, we are also collaborators, and we're also colleagues because we work together. And when both sides and both agents on both sides of the equation can work together and bring the buyer and the seller together, that's really where the magic happens. And your reputation out there is important. And that is something that is also important to buyers and sellers. They want to work with an agent that they know is respected in the community as well, because that's how you're going to get things done. You don't want to be that agent that nobody wants to talk to on the phone or kind of cringes when you call, because your negotiation style have been like a little bit, you know, on the edgy side. So just be careful of that. This is about knowing who your competitors are, knowing what they bring to the table, and then knowing what you bring to the table, and just focusing on that, and shining a light on yourself when you're in front of your clients.
I think, you know, we get into our head and we self-sabotage ourselves. So right now, based on what you know, why do you think that a buyer or seller would hire your competition? So this is like the insecurity part of what I don't know. And I want you to talk about it, because this is what's going to hold you back, whether it's past this class, tomorrow. Your neighbor could come next door. You guys could have a barbecue this weekend, and they could say, we're thinking about selling our house. You've been in Ignite for 2 weeks. This conversation's going to come up. Oh, I hope they don't use so-and-so. Why? Why are they going to pick potentially? Why do you think they're going to pick the competitor?
Experience.
Okay, so what's one of the things that holds us back is maybe the experience. What else?
No. Didn't you look at the AX?
They've used another realtor before.
Okay, past realtor. Okay. What else?
Oh, me.
Virginia.
They don't know you're in real estate.
What? Secret agent.
Secret agent. That doesn't do you any good here. They need to know you're in real estate, which means you got to tell them.
Yeah. Don't be a secret agent. It's your fault that a for sale sign went in your own neighborhood, period. Your job
If you have no business, you don't know what to do, your first line of business is to either knock on the doors, email, text, or go to your neighbors and say, listen, we've been neighbors for 10 years. I'm Jamie Camrada. I'd be doing a disservice to let you know that I love our neighborhood and I'm in real estate. So if you're thinking about listing this property, I want to choose our neighbors because this neighborhood's great. Here's my business card, period. Don't be a secret agent. But to talk about the experience in the past and using a past real estate agent, you don't know this yet, but you have no idea if that past real estate agent that they were using has even talked to them since selling their house or helping them buy the house. What communication and established relationship did they have with that past agent? And the experience, listen, there's a reason why there's Supercuts and Great Cuts and Delaria's and all these hair cutting places. Okay, the newbie still gets clients. Does that person not? Yes. And then they build their what? Their clientele. And that's what you're going to do.
My experience with a real estate firm was after the closing, the house that we sold a number of years ago. I never heard from them again. Never.
Ooh. Boom. So whoever just said past real estate agent, run on in. Hunger Games, run, don't walk.
Well, and maybe, guys, this is all, it's all a conversation, right? So it's like, oh, I'm so glad to hear that you used your last you used a real estate agent to sell your last home. Tell me what about that agent would make you want to hire them again?
Ooh.
Good question. Right? Because you don't, just because they use someone else, consumers only understand, just like with anything else, right? If I only ever shop at Walmart, I think that is the experience, right? If I've never entered a Target before, I don't know that maybe the experience at Target would be better. So just because they use someone else and they understand that this is the level of service that they can expect from everyone is not accurate. And this is where your value proposition comes in. Oh, they told me that, they communicated, I guess, and, we sold it. So, they were good. They did what they were supposed to do. But how was that experience from the beginning to the end? That's why asking those clarifying questions. What did you love about that? What did you like about that agent? Well, I liked that they got the house sold.
Actually, I used very similar language when I got my first and only listing, but I had called expires, and I got an appointment with an expired listing that had been on a couple of times, and my question to them was, do you have a minute to talk? Can I just ask you a couple of questions? And so I asked some questions and I listened, and I think that really meant a lot because I was a brand new agent. So, listening was really helpful. And I asked them just exactly what you said. What are some of the things that you liked about your prior agent, and what are the things that you didn't like, and what do you think that she could have done better? And just those types of questions. And and what we were talking about earlier is knowing your client. These people were different than I would live. They're just a different lifestyle, and so just kind of being open-minded and friendly. And yes, when I went into the house, I so desperately wanted to stare at things, because the house was kind of a hot mess. But I just asked questions and complimented the things that I did like about the house, and it did have a lot of great character. So I think that they appreciated that. So like you said, it's more about asking questions and letting and listening. So, and just trying to let them know that you would be there for them and you will take care of the things that they did not like about the other agent. So, and the house sold and over asking, so they were happy.
Congratulations.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great.
But listening, this is my point.
Yeah, and not
I
making
agree with you.
assumptions, right? Not making assumptions that because they worked with somebody in the past, that they're not going to work with you because you don't have a lot of experience behind you, that they're not going to work with you. So it's about putting all those assumptions aside. And just by asking questions, it's going to build that rapport. And then they're not going to even think about your experience, because if you're asking questions and listening to what is important to them, they are going to perceive that you have a lot of experience and that you're going to take care of it.
All right, guys, let's start talking about some technology.
Who
So-
loves technology?
Not me.
Hey, you're honest, Nina. I love it. Guys, the best thing, or one of the tools in your tool belt, right, is about the technology that you're given by partnering with Keller Williams. So I want to talk a little bit about that. How can the technology that you have access to add to your value proposition? How is it unique, right? And this is where knowing about what your competitors have is a little bit beneficial, because anything that gives you a leg up, of course, right? So we're a large organization. Exposure to the massive amount of agents that we have, the network that we have across the nation, and the ability to send referrals. How are you guys like? So can I just get a show of hands really quickly? How many of you have gone into Command? Okay, good. So a little more than good. So you've at least peeled back the layer that is the platform that we run our businesses off of. How many of you have looked into or added a contact? Okay, I love the 2 hands. That must mean you have more than, well, that must mean you have a lot of contacts in there. And how many of you know enough about it that
I can't hear you.
technology, as we're talking about technology, is it likes to change from earbuds to laptop to whatever it wants to connect with in that moment. So sorry about that. But how many of you think that is there a specific piece of the technology that you guys have access to, whether that's MLS, Command, marketing pieces, exposure on Facebook sites, the marketing pieces you can create in Smart Plan touches? Anybody feel like you could pull a piece of that into your personal value proposition and tell me which aspect do you feel is an added value?
I think the biggest thing is that Keller Williams referral network, and I think the MLS market monitor and that type of stuff, because you could say, hey, the whole thing, Zillow is always inaccurate. And I've personally called places in Zillow, like in Florida, because I wanted to move to Florida for a while. It's like, oh, I gotta go warm. And it was all old stuff. The agent that you call is like, oh, it's not my listing. I don't know why I'm on there. You can call so-and-so. I'm like, oh, it says you're the agent. I don't know. And this was a few years ago. So I was like, oh, this is awful.
Well, proprietary access, right? You guys are a part of a realtor network, being a member of, the board of realtors, having access to forms that they need, having access to the multiple listing service, which is where the data is coming in. So it's the most accurate and the most timely. For buyers, you're going to put them on a listing cart. They're going to get those properties immediately. They don't have to wait for IDX to link with different search engines for them to get those properties. Is that a value add to your buyers to say you will be getting them immediately? It is. So having technology built into your value proposition, and what's unique about what you have access to? Do you have access to a search engine application that they can communicate with you with? Yep. Do you see how that can fit in? And I know you guys are just dipping your toes into the water of technology, and I know it can be scary and there's a lot to learn. So know your resources with that. If you guys have a local technology trainer, if you don't have a local trainer, you have access to the regional trainer. She's amazing.
You've met her on a lot of Ignite things. Brooke, you also have the 66-day challenge, which is an amazing content. You can pick it based off of the applet that you want to learn. And then you guys can learn how to use that at a high level. And again, I know that you guys are just getting into this, but it's important to know that we're in the world of technology and it's a huge asset to you in your business. Did you know that you can set automatic reminders as you pull people through the transaction? If you have them set up on a smart plan, it will say, congratulations, you're now under contract. This is what you can now expect. And you can customize that to yourself. Falasha?
I was going to say another thing is with the technology for like sellers, we can create their websites, like put a website together for them for their addresses so that they can like share it with their family members, friends, colleagues, and so forth. So it kind of like brings them into like feeling like we've invested that much time and effort into their property. And, you know, it'll just give them something to talk about with people. That will also be like word of mouth business for us as well.
Yeah, a professional, individualized website for every listing that you have. And maybe some of you haven't, but maybe Jamie and Rhonda would know this. How many clients have said, oh, are you going to put my home in a There's Nate Dickey. Hello. He's your regional director. He just slammed on my window. But how many people who have been like, oh, are you going to put my property in that magazine? Oh. Right? Is that what's going to ultimately get the home sold?
No.
Probably not.
It's going to sit on a shelf and it's going to have beautiful photographs, but those beautiful photographs can go into your personalized website and you can fan that out. How much more reach is that going to have?
I want to say something to segue into that. Guys, when COVID hit, everything changed. Everything changed. You go to your doctor's office right now and your doctor's office is actually allowing you to go to the office. Are you seeing a magazine on the table anymore? Nobody's touching the magazine. So that's not going to work. How many of you really don't love technology, and be honest? You really have no idea landing pages, smart plans, well, just be honest, right? Okay. How many of you were forced during COVID to use a QR code to eat? Everybody was forced to use the QR code if you went to a restaurant. The banks were using them. QR codes 4 years, 5 years ago was this like, ooh, what's a QR code? You have to download it on your phone and it's an app and then you use it. Too many steps, failure. Thank you, Anthony. QR code. If we don't know what a QR code is, Anthony, put it back up there again. That is a QR code, okay?
These are awesome for your business card. Then they can scan it. I've seen people when I give it to them, they scan it and then I see them look and then they shut their phone and they go walk away. I'm like, okay, all right.
Yeah. And so what I want to say is, yes, the technology is an important piece. But if you're honestly starting to check out a little bit and get aggravated because we're real estate agents and I get it, and we're talking about technology and it doesn't fit your window, let me tell you what will. You're going to go back to the regional YouTube page. You're going to watch how to make a QR code. It takes 1 minute. That QR code 100% can be linked to your website. It can be linked to a landing page. It can be linked to anything that you want, and it shows you how to do it in the video. And it is very self-explanatory. The QR codes are the direction to
Hand draw my own.
Yeah, Jim's. Thanks for being honest, Jim. Okay, look like a thumbprint for an iPhone, but okay, we'll take it as a QR code. So the QR codes bring you to somewhere. So what Virginia's saying about landing pages, you know, and I think somebody just mentioned that, you know, if you're not good at this stuff, pay somebody in your market center. If there's nobody in your market center to do it, ask your market center if they have Scott Leroy marketing. If they have Scott Leroy marketing, they will do it for you for free. Okay, write that down. Ask my mentor market center, do we have Scott Leroy marketing? And if we do, how do I get on the site? What's the phone number? Because they will set a lot of this stuff up for you for free. You take the responsibility of making a QR code. You take the responsibility of typing an HTTP address into the QR code, and it will bring you to what Scott Leroy made for you. You can always leverage these things that you're not great at. but it is 2021 and you can't run from it if you want to be an independent contractor in any arena of business. You can't run. So I wanted to add that in because I see some people when we're talking about smart plans, landing pages, and Virginia's going to get very in detail on the second part of this Ignite today and show you physically on the screen how to use and enter a contact and some of the simple stuff. And yes, it can be overwhelming, but just like the education of what we're going to teach you here in Ignite about how to work with buyers and sellers, you have an obligation. You're an independent contractor. You want to make a lot of money? You have to invest in some of these how-tos just at a knowledge base, foundational wise. And then if it's not your thing, please leverage it to somebody, but use it. Right, Rhonda?
Absolutely. Absolutely. My coach tells me all the time, it still has to get done. And if you don't want to do it or you can't do it, find somebody who can, but it still has to get done. And that's exactly what
Those
Jane
dishes in the sink this morning, I said to my kids, they're not just gonna get them done themselves. So I said, I'm tired of doing it, so get it done.
Jamie, we're an hour and a half in.
Yeah, I think a break is good.
I think everybody could get some coffee, a water, use the restroom, stretch, do some yoga. Just turn your camera off if you're gonna do yoga because it's a little too much. So it is 10:30 on the dot, 10:29. So you guys take 10 minutes. We're gonna be back here at 10:40.
Awesome.
Perfect.
All right.
Can I ask someone a question while the group is doing the whole break thing? It's kind of a random question. So I'm assuming that a lot of you, the teachers and stuff have worked, with for sale by owners and stuff like that on the other end, being a buyer's agent. And so I was wondering to myself, where, let's say they're still offering 2% for a buyer's agent or whatever it is. Wouldn't that be kind of like, the cheapo way to go? Because the buyer agent gets paid when it closes. They still have to say, oh, transfer tax stamp and this and that and this and that. It has to get done. So then they're kind of working both ends of the deal. Like, that's what I wonder, like, if people are thinking this when they're like, oh yeah, I'm thinking of moving, but no, I would not use you as a realtor because I'm not going to use a realtor at all. I'm going to do it by owner because I know that real estate agents have to help it close. At least, they don't represent me, but that kind of thing. That's what I was wondering. I was like, I wonder if that's going to come up or what you would say in that situation.
Yeah, it's all overcoming objections, right? So are you talking about, so I represent a buyer and I'm bringing my buyer to a for sale by owner, or are you saying that I want to flip a for sale by owner to get the listing?
I'm super cheap and I'm selling my $1 million house and I know a little bit about real estate. Maybe I have I was a realtor at one point and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm going to offer commission, 2% or 1%, whatever. Probably would be 1%, but, because I know that like they have to, basically would we have to pick up that slack kind of, because, hey, I'm working with my buyer to serve them the best. I have to make sure that this for sale by owner closes. Like if I just sit there and say, oh yeah, I accept your offer. That's good. Okay. So, and of course terms come up because I don't have someone representing me, but let's just say it's like, okay, the terms aren't an issue. Just the closing of it itself, wouldn't the buyer's agent kind of have to still pick up some of that slack and be kind of, so I wonder if people kind of think that.
Two parts of the question, really. The buyer's agent working on one half of an unrepresented deal on the other side, you are always doing more work.
Yeah.
Because you have the fiduciary duty to your client to make it go smoothly.
Mhm.
And you are there holding people to the contract. You are there communicating with both sides, telling them, hey, this is the deadline for this. This is the deadline for that. This is, whether you're going through inspections and like now the seller has 5 days to get back to you and they don't get back to you within that 5 days. So you are always checking in with both sides. So there's more communication, more work. So yes, you are kind of communicating with both sides. You obviously can't share information with the other side, but you are taking on more work. So know that when you're going into that situation. On the other side, where's the value proposition for that for sale by owner for you to get a listing, right? So you don't want them to sell it themselves. You want to sell it for them. So you want to have them sign a listing agreement. seller, and again, it's discovery questions, right? So it's like, Mr. Seller, I understand that you don't want to hire an agent to sell your property, and you do have a little bit of knowledge about real estate, and you feel as though that you can adequately sell your home yourself. Tell me what's important to you about selling your home yourself. 9 times out of 10, it sells itself right
Mhm,
now in this
mhm.
market, and I can save money.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
So how would you navigate those two objections?
Well, I mean, it's tough. I mean, because there is like, if there's a guy that knows tech stuff, I mean, like the older folks, like look at Robert, he's an older gentleman and he's super tech smart, smarter than I am at this stuff. So, I worry about running into that. I would, if the guy's like, oh, I do photography, my wife does photography. Oh, my wife can do a 360 tour. Oh, I can list it on the thing. I used to, I can write up a review. I can this and that. I would say what I would say is like, sure, you can do all that stuff. Because then I don't want to be like, oh no, I could send in my professional, then I'm on the hook for that. Then I'm like throwing other people in the mix, which I don't really want to do. But that's another thing too. When I say, oh, I can get a guy out here to estimate that repair. I can do this whole thing, make sure you're all good, but then I'm paying for all this stuff and they expect me to pay for this because they're paying me. That's another thing I worry about. But basically what I would say to that objection would be, to object to that would be, sure, you can do all this, you can, field all the phone calls. But is that really how you want to spend your summer, fielding phone calls? Let me do it. I mean, that's kind of the role I play. I'm a workaholic. I love being in front of my computer, as bad as it sounds, even on a nice sunny day. And I'm in the market. I work with Keller Williams. We have tons of agents. We have, legal counsel that I can kind of look to talk to, and we have tons of people that have a lot of experience. So if you wanted to go for sale by owner, you have a beautiful home, there's no reason you couldn't, but it's just going to be, is that really what you want to do for that savings? And I don't know, that's the thing, because I just think like,
yeah, well, it's
understanding
yeah, I mean, there's a difference between a condition and an objection, right? So their objection is that they want to net the most money, and you can respect that. Mr. Seller, I respect the fact that you want to net the most money and that you feel like in this market that you can sell it yourself. Statistically, for sale by owners per NAR, National Association of Realtors, for sale by owners actually net 15 to 17% less by selling it themselves. They actually make 15 to 17% more by selling it with a realtor. Let me tell you why. And you talk about all the points, all your value proposition, your unique value proposition that you bring, the network of agents that you work with, the multiple listing service that spans it out to, God, what, 10, 15, I mean, it IDX feeds into all the individual realtor websites, meaning like Coldwell Banker, Remax, Ann Irwin, it auto feeds into all of those. It auto feeds into Zillow, Realtor, and obviously compensation, right? How are buyers agents? Why would a buyer's agent bring you a buyer if they don't know that they're being compensated?
Well,
if it's not written somewhere.
Like if they had
What was
entry
that?
only, what if they just did entry only, it's $300, and I'll just say, 1.5%, or if they're just like, yeah, 2.5%. So that way they're, get 0.5% more, and I'm still saving.
Well, and then you rest on the experience, right? So whether it's entry only, either, they're not represented. There's no one looking out for their best interest. There's no one helping them negotiate. There are so many moments throughout the deal that they could leave money on the table. Inspections, appraisal, it doesn't have to be contingent upon an appraisal. There's a way around that. I know how to word that to protect you. Do you?
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Financing, what type of loan? Do you know the nuances between an FHA, a VA, a USDA, a conventional, a cash? Do you know all the differences? How to best make the right selection for you? What are the requirements of those loans? What does the caliber of the house have to be? If it's in pristine condition, it may qualify, right? But if it's not, then that's a different conversation.
Okay. 'Cause I guess, and I know this is all just hypothetical, I just worry about the informed consumer. Like, oh, I'm just going to talk to it because everyone's giving something away for free. Like, I'll just talk to a mortgage guy because he'll give me a free, because he wants me to, use him as a FSBO. So I'll just go to him and he'll tell me, don't accept a VA is going to need this this and this, the termite inspection, whatever. And I'm just throwing out hypothetical worst case scenario thoughts.
Yeah.
I have kind of that, like, oh, what about this? What about this? Especially where I'm new,
No, of course. And
Now
these are all
that clout,
conversations you're going to have to navigate. Rhonda, did you have any perspective on that? You're muted.
I'm muted. I'm going to just apologize. I was out fighting the 66-day challenge, so I have just been half listening. So I am sorry.
Converting a for sale by owner and they want to net the most money and they think they can do it themselves in this market. So before
Okay.
the end of break, we've got 2 minutes if you want to give your perspective. I'm going to get some water.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, for sale by owners, actually, they are a great opportunity for all of us to talk with, to talk with them. And it's a great opportunity for you to provide value to them and to provide your value proposition to them. A lot of sellers, absolutely, they think they can sell it on their own because they want to put the most money in their pocket and they don't want to pay a commission. However, by hiring an agent, we are going to get them more money because real estate agents have negotiating skills, right? So in talking with them and saying, listen, and I know Virginia, I did hear Virginia was talking about the percentage that real estate agents can typically get a for sale by owner by getting them an increased price, which is going to well pay for that professional fee that they are going to pay for you as a realtor. So, it's about talking with them about the value that you are going to provide. It's about saving them time, saving them money, because you're going to get them an increased value, which is going to then still put more money in their pocket at the end of the day. And as we're talking about the purpose of buying and selling real estate as agents, is that you're going to save them time, right? And you're going to do it with the least amount of problems and and putting more money. So as a realtor, you can fulfill those three things for them. And, buying and selling a home is emotional, right? If you're a seller and you're trying to sell your own home without having that representative in the middle as a buffer for you, who can actually talk to potential buyers and to their agents and be able to collaborate with them to get what everybody wants at the end of the day, that's value. And so having that conversation with them, and sometimes it just has to be in baby steps. You're not going to convert them on the first phone call, yet,
of course you just, if
it's all about the relationship. It's all about they have to trust you as in any one of our clients in any transaction, they have to trust you. So it's about building trust, building rapport, and then slowly enlightening them to the value by working with a licensed agent can help on the sale of their home.
Okay. And if I ever got someone like this, I would be like, hey, you know what? It sounds like you're all set and knowledgeable. Look to me in the future. Have a great day. Because, I'm not going to, that's, I guess, the big thing is, because if that ever happens, that's like the anti-client. It's just like, maybe I'll even get my real estate license just to sell it. It's like, okay, whatever. I'm, chalk that up to,
But a for sale by owner is no different than a seller, guys. For a sale by owner and a seller, what do they want to do? We just talked about it. They want to net as much money as possible. And so everyone thinks Monday morning quarterback, everyone thinks that they're great at this. If I wanted to cut my own hair, I'm sure I could, but am I going to chance it? Oh my God, no. And I'm not going to color it either, ladies.
I've done it. It's been awful.
So, you can cut your own lawn, but my landscaper can do it for $40 in half the amount of time, and it looks great and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And so a for sale by owner is they're about the outcome. They're nervous because they're like, you know what, it's a buyer's market. We're going to put this property on there. I can do that. I can throw it up here for $350 and all these buyers are going to come at me and I'm going to get the most for my money. They're not thinking about the details. See, the end result, they're only thinking about the money.
Mm-hmm.
So now they have all these people who are like, I want your house, I want your house, I want your house, and they have no idea how to manage it. They have no idea the forms they need to fill out. They have no idea about lead forms. They have no idea about maybe a seller's disclosure. They have no idea about an offer form, by the way,
Okay.
that shows the dates, that shows the home inspection, that shows anything about lending. They didn't get a lender letter saying that somebody was approved. Like, they don't know the paperwork and details of the transaction. That is a value that everybody on this call is going to bring, regardless of what we just talked about in terms of experience and knowledge. You hold the key. So on a private sale, like Rhonda said, it is emotional. It's an emotional transaction. And the seller is usually unrealistic. And they're like, I put the most expensive light fixtures and I picked out the knobs from Italy. And that chandelier came from me. I don't care. It's your property. How many bedrooms, how many baths, square footage, what a buyer is willing to buy for the structure of the property and the condition that it is in the neighborhood or the area that it is based on whose house is selling today in the market. So yes, for sale by owners, like Rhonda said, are easy conversations. But if you don't know that value and nobody wants to be talked at.
Yeah.
So when you're calling a for sale by owner, which you should probably be learning in one of those ignites over there, you're asking questions.
Yeah,
Hey,
exactly. Get them.
so let's say Virginia was a for sale by owner, Anthony, and then we'll continue here. But I would say, hey, Virginia, my name's Jamie Camrada, and I see that you're selling your property. Congratulations. Where are you moving to?
Actually, Florida.
Excellent. What part of Florida?
Ooh.
Tampa.
Tampa. Do you already have a place there, or are you looking there?
I'm just gonna go down and stay in a hostel until I find where I want to be.
Excellent. I love that. My parents live in Florida. They live in Clearwater. So listen, I love your property, and I do have some buyers that are interested in potentially coming by. So I'm wondering, would you be able to send me in advance maybe the seller's disclosure and the plot plan and maybe the Title V pass and complete? Could you send that over to me? And I'd love to schedule a time to show my buyers.
Oh, I don't have any of that.
Okay, did you see that? And we're not going to get too much into this.
Yeah.
When you start to learn about for sale by owners and asking questions, see, I didn't come in and say, I can sell your house. Why are you a for sale by owner? Right? I'm kind of baiting them on a couple of the value propositions that I'm going to be adding later that they don't know about, because their only focus is the net money, like we discussed on the wants of sellers. You know what I mean? All right, everybody should be back.
Alyssa, you had your hand raised. Did you have a comment before we move on?
Yeah, I just kind of had a follow-up question. So Rhonda, you had said that, you might not convert them on the first phone call. If they're, they don't really seem interested, or they're kind of resistant to what you have to say, like, how do you recommend like following up on that without, sounding like a pain?
Yeah, so, the first time you talk with them, they might be very resistant and say, listen, I'm not working with a buyer's agent. I can sell my property on my own. I'm not interested. And you know what, at that point, I would just say, listen, I absolutely respect that. I understand. And I absolutely respect where you're coming from. Would you mind if I just checked up on you in the next couple of weeks? I'm wishing you all the best. I hope you sell it. I hope you sell it quickly. In the event I still see it active in the next couple of weeks, would you mind if I just reach out again and just check in on you? If you do have a buyer that you do want to bring to that house, that's always a way to say, listen, I understand. I totally get it. Would you mind if I brought my buyer over to take a look at the property? If you don't have a buyer, because you don't want to lie about that. If you don't have a buyer and you were just calling just to kind of talk with them and ask some questions, and they say absolutely not right now, just say, listen, if you don't mind, I'm just going to check in on you in another couple of weeks. Most people are always going to say, yeah, yeah, you can. I'm not going to change my mind, but yeah, you can. That 2 weeks later, that maybe they just had a really hard time. Maybe somebody said they were putting an offer, they didn't get it. You never know what happens. They might be, a little bit more, they might be willing to talk with you again, and then you're just going to ask them more questions. And like Jamie said, a lot of times they don't know what the laws are and what the rules are, and that they have to have sellers disclosures filled out, and they have to, in Massachusetts, pay for the Title V. So it's just about calling and asking a couple of more questions and just building that, building that relationship little by little with them.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, guys, we got a lot of material to get through, and the last thing we want to have to do is to turn into the wah people. So let's get through this content. We're gonna do an activity, and I believe this is going to be a breakout. On this activity, Rhonda, you want to pull up the slides?
Yep. Okay. So we are here.
And if you guys have your guides, this is going to help you. Pages 12 to 13. You guys are going to be crafting your unique value proposition based off of everything that we've gone over today so far. We've talked about technology. We've talked about honesty. We've talked about trustworthiness. We've talked about communication. You guys are going to put those into, you guys are going to work together to create your own unique value proposition. And then we're going to have you guys role play those with one another to protect prospective buyer or a seller, and you guys are going to switch off. So Rhonda, can we put them in groups of 2?
Okay, yep.
So you'll work together to craft them, and then you're going to work together to role play them back and forth.
Here,
And we'll do this.
Here's a little secret, like a cheat too. I would probably maybe start with the sentence, what value I will provide when you hire me to. If you're stuck, maybe go with that. What value I will provide when you hire me to be your list agent, when you hire me to be your buyer agent. Elevator speech. Go.
Okay, so I'm going to do 2 to 3 participants per room. When you get your invitation, make sure you jump into your room, and if you end up, I will monitor the rooms in case somebody is not able to jump into a room. If I find somebody in a room by themselves, I will redirect you to another room. So bear with me. Virginia, I think it's not going to pop us back into a room again.
It's putting one in, it is for me.
I know. It's like it won't pop us into a room.
All right, I'm going in.
Enjoy.
Let me make sure. Okay, so they're in there. They have 3. Okay, so Leah right now is alone. Got 3 in there. So I'm going to move Leah in a second. Let's see. David's in a room by himself. Anthony's in a room by himself. All right, anybody else? Joanne, do you have an invitation to go into a room? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry about that. I did. I was by myself, so I jumped out. I didn't
Oh,
know.
okay. I'm going to put you into another room. Where are, let me see where you are. Hold on.
Okay.
So I got 2, I got 3, we got 3. Let me just see who else is alone here. Okay, so I'm going to put you into room 10.
Okay, thank you.
So what, do you know what room you were in?
I was in 10.
Maybe
I
I
didn't
I know
write
somebody
on
did jump in there. Okay, so let me put you back in there again. Oh, now it won't let me put you. Can you get back in your room? Does it say you can go back in?
Oh, I can. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, go ahead. You go there.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and Rita, I'm going to move you to room 10 as well.
And then Wednesday stepped away, but she was here. So we'll have to wait for her to come back.
And I'm going to move David into room 14. Okay, so now David is there. Don't squint, don't squint. We got 2 there, we got 2 there, 3, 3, 3, 3. Okay, so at least nobody is alone at the moment.
Yeah, when Wednesday comes back, you can pop her somewhere. Or she
Okay.
must already have an invitation. But
Yeah, so she, let's see, where is Wednesday going to go?
you probably already sent her one.
Yeah, she should be in room 1, so she should have an invitation for room 1. Everybody is assigned.
Okay.
How long were we giving them for this, Virginia?
10.
10 minutes. Okay, good. Okay.
Probably a little less than it should be, but that's all right. It'll keep them on task.
That's right.
And it's 10:52.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Good, 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 good. I do have the 6 personal perspectives. I do have an image for that I can pop up when we start talking about distinguish yourself and talking about continual knowledge and improvement.
I feel like Jamie must have the master because she knows who's supposed to say what on like the in-between slides.
Yeah. Yeah, I printed what she had sent.
Yeah, we're missing a lot of it though.
Oh, we're missing a lot of it, yeah. But yet I think that we've been kind of hitting it as I feel like we've been kind of hitting on everything as we go.
We just need to we need to be a little faster.
Yeah, I know, because 12 o'clock is going to, I mean, they give us a lot of lead time with them making calls and stuff, so we can always kind of cut back on there to just get them out of here by 12, kind of wrap it up by then. I think we'll be okay.
I want everybody to put on mute and keep their cameras on and make calls though.
Yeah.
We can, I don't know if you have the slides open on another screen.
Yep, I do.
So the deliver value slide that we don't have in our printed packet, we can just blow through. Like now that you guys have that, make sure that if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And just
Which
make
one?
sure you're
What
doing
slide was that? What one?
It's page 18.
Page 18. I don't have the page numbers. What was it? Just tell me what the title was.
It doesn't have one. It's one of the, it goes back to the map. Like, you know how they go through
Oh.
the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll just
Yep.
blow through that.
Yep, absolutely. We'll just go right through that one and then move right on to distinguish yourself.
Right. And they already did the work on this. So we're not doing ahas here.
Okay. So do we want to do the 6? Do you want me to go through the 6 perspectives because that's where it talks about in the page, the facilitator guide under the distinguish yourself slide, it does talk about always drive, the continuous drive for knowledge and improvement is part of our 6 personal perspectives.
Yeah, I wasn't meaning to blow through that slide. I meant the one that kind of brings up the map and it just says, all right, now that, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll go
Just
by that one
remember-
and then we'll go to distinguish yourself. Okay.
Yeah. Basically, it's just a boilerplate statement that if you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it and act with integrity, and then we'll move on to distinguish yourself.
Okay, perfect.
And that's your slide, so you just do what you do.
Okay.
Or part of it's you. Jamie's on the top.
Jamie's on the top.
Yep.
Okay, so that's good. And then the next one is create a stellar experience.
And that's me.
And that's you. Okay. And then from there, then we go into ahas.
Yeah, Jamie's just going to ask for a couple ahas and then we're going to move on.
Okay. And then the next part that we go to is talking about the goals, 10 contacts a day, conversations, handwritten notes, and 10 home previews per week, things that they should be doing, right? And then,
Jamie's just going to blow through that.
Okay. And then it goes into script practice and then lead gen time.
Yep. But when we were doing script practice, you and I, that's where I was going to pull up the scripts and we were just going to go say, if you have a script prepared, that's fine. But if you don't, here's a script.
Perfect.
And I was just going to do the introduce because they're newer. I was just going to do the calling to let them know I'm in real estate and go through Ford.
Yep. Okay, great. Love it.
Not all of the parts of Ford, but they'll be there so they can see them as a suggestion. So I don't know if you want to, do you have the script book, the Ignite script book, like link?
I probably do. Let me just get in there.
If you don't, I can go find it, but I think that would be good just to plop in there so people have it.
Yeah, I'm actually smart script. I got it right here. Okay, yep, I have it here. So I can, let's see, what page is it on? Let's see, the one that you want to do.
Is Wednesday back?
Oh, let's see.
She looks frozen though.
I don't see her, actually. I think she jumped into her room.
Okay, that's what it is. I just see her image on my screen
Oh,
still.
Rebecca's. Rebecca, can I put you into a room? Did you jump out of a room?
I'm actually working, so I'm just kind of
Okay,
listening.
got it.
Thank you
No,
for
no
asking though.
worries. No, yep,
Okay.
no worries. Just wanted to make sure.
Thank you for asking.
You're welcome. Okay. Let me go, where's my script book again? Okay, yep. So that's like the new to real estate, the very first one. So I'll put this up on the screen.
Oh, you have it too. Okay.
Yep, I have it. So we just share the screen too.
All right. So you can share the screen. I'll be the agent. You can be the person I'm calling.
Okay.
And then there's another script we were going to do, which was
So I have two Ford, actually a bunch of them. You just want to do the first one in the script? The first one
yeah,
in the
because
script book?
I was
Okay.
telling them that we're new in real
Yep,
estate.
okay. Yep, and I'm calling to share that I'm now in real estate. Okay, perfect. Great.
You want to send a reminder? They've got, well, what do we say? 42?
Yeah, so that we probably, I'll tell them like 3 minutes. Perfect. Right, I'm just gonna run to the ladies' room. I'll be right back. All right, I'm gonna bring them back in. I'm gonna close the rooms.
And if you want to go right back into the slides, because we're not going to do ahas, it'll kind of keep us on track, I think.
Okay, you don't want to go back into them?
No, I say let's go back into the slides because we don't need a discussion.
Okay, got it. Welcome back, everyone.
People are filtering back in. Slowly. They're having so much fun, they don't want to leave their breakout
I
rooms.
know, exactly. It's all right. It'll eventually cut you off abruptly. You'll have no choice.
It'll be polite and then it won't.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're all
And
having
you're
fun,
done.
and then we have to come back and really play hardball.
I know. Well, hopefully we're fun too. See, Rhonda and I haven't been able to get into any breakout rooms to play with you guys, so
Oh,
we're feeling a little left out.
I played with Darwin from Rhonda's Market Center.
Oh,
Nice.
Darwin.
I love him. I love him.
You're awesome, Darwin.
All right, I think we must have lost some humans.
Let's see. How many, I can't see. We did. We did.
Wow,
We lost
okay.
about 10 people. We lost about 10 or 11 folks. Come back.
No, they're probably gone if they're not back. Well, you guys are the cool people anyway, because you stayed. So, all right, guys, let's keep going with this. So basically, now that you guys have your unique value propositions down, you can put those into, like I said, your listing presentations, your buyer presentations. You can actively use them, and they can grow and change as you grow and change in your business. Biggest thing is don't make promises you don't intend on delivering on. So we're not going to labor that, but always work with integrity. So we're going to move on to distinguishing yourself. And Jamie, you want to kick off?
All right. So exactly with what you just said. So it's integrity, right? So if you're going to say what you're going to do what you're going to say. So with distinguishing yourself, it's not something that you just say, but it's something that you actually deliver on with the information that you know. So what kind of knowledge do you think that you're expected to have that would set you apart from competition in terms of buyers and sellers? And we kind of talked about that a little bit on a couple of the slides about knowledge of the market, knowledge about your competition, compensation model, marketing. What do we do here in technology for marketing for our buyers and sellers, and maybe what the competition does, so that you know that you can distinguish yourself. You can't really distinguish yourself if you don't know what others have. So if you're just doing this, it's only to the benefit that you know what everybody else is doing so that you can piggyback on that. You also have to know the market, right? So it's your job to keep a pulse on the market. And how do you do that? Like, what makes you different? And I hate to say the technology portion, guys, but them downloading your app and being able to do the neighborhood arena on their app is one thing. What value from what business you came from before can you bring? If you were in sales, then you should be able to negotiate at a high level. If you were in banking or something in accounting, like the numbers. So I think, Rhonda, we're going to actually talk about some of the ways to distinguish yourself is through the 6 perspectives, which I absolutely love. And if you've never taken the 6 perspectives and you're new to our company right now, after Ignite, I really encourage you to look up one of the 6 perspectives or ask your team leader if you can bring it to the Market Center, because this will also help define your purpose on why you're in real estate and what you can bring to the table.
Absolutely. And even if we have a couple of guests on here who may not be with Keller Williams, the 6 personal perspectives is always a course that we share throughout the realtor community. There's so much benefit to it. I just brought up I have it right here. And it's a course. I think it's typically, let me get rid of this. I think it's typically maybe a half a day course, Jamie and Virginia, or maybe like a 9 to 3 or something course. But it's all done in one day. It's a 6 personal perspectives. Like Jamie had said, definitely ask your Market Center about it when it's being offered. The one really cool thing, like we were talking about technology earlier, is that before COVID, And after COVID, everything is available digitally to all of us. There's so many classes now that you can take via Zoom. You can take classes that a market center out in California is hosting and being over here on the East Coast. So definitely, you know, take advantage. If your market center says we're not bringing this in for a little while, definitely like look up, go on to Connect, find out when it's coming someplace else and jump on it. The 6 personal perspectives is something that is so valuable to your business. So we're just going to go through them just really, really quickly. We're not going to spend a lot of time, but here they are. These are the 6 personal perspectives. So step 1 is to commit to self-mastery. Step 2 is the 80-20 principle. Who knows what the 80-20 principle is? And this applies to anything. David, you know what it is. What is it, David?
20% of the agents in your market center will have 80% of the business.
Right. And that goes across many different things. You can apply the 80-20 rule to really just about anything. It is the.
Well, and that's the top 20%. So that's not wrong, David, but in this particular example, I'm going to focus on mastering my top priorities, right? So the top 20% of my activities are going to lead to 80% of my business. So know what activities you should be focusing on, which is lead generation, database management, following up with your clients. Those are you're always lead generation and database. But thank you, David. That is also true.
That little spin when he said that, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, well, that's the reason we want to be the 20%.
And you can apply it to anything, but Virginia's right. In this case, it's like always focusing on your 20% during the day, getting that done first, and then focusing on the rest of your tasks. Step 3
Virginia, could you say that again? The top 20% of my activities should what?
So when you look at all the responsibilities of a realtor, there is 20% of your activities in your business is actually going to produce 80% of your physical business. So lead generation, adding to and maintaining your database, and adequately following up with the database that you do have.
And
loving on them.
And don't get caught up in the 80%. That's what we do. We're getting ready to get ready. We're getting ready. We're going to Staples. I bought this. I'm taking a class. I have a sticky note. I'm doing this. But if you didn't do the 20% that Virginia just talked about lead generating, following up, and the 20% that's critical for you to have dollar producing activity, that's the difference. And that's where we get caught up.
And if you guys need a good resource for that, if you haven't read The One Thing, he has an amazing podcast. It's an awesome book. It really helps you drill down on what is the one thing I have to do. And in that, by doing it, everything else becomes unnecessary or easier. So my life is easier if I spend 4 hours a day. If I spend 4 hours a day I'm like, I don't even know how much time. No, if you've gotten in your 4 hours of lead gen in the morning, it doesn't matter what the rest that I've done with the rest of my day, because I've done my one thing that's going to drive my business forward.
Yeah.
Big rocks, little rocks.
I'm just going to say the big rocks and little rocks have Jen always has the best analogy of that is if you take a cup and you have big rocks, you have medium-sized rocks, and then you have sand, right? The big rocks represent that 20% of the things that you need to do, your one thing that makes everything else easier or unnecessary. The smaller rocks are the 80% of all the other things that you have to get done. And the sand is everything else that you have going on and that you need to do. So imagine a cup. So if you take your sand and you fill that cup up with sand, now you don't have any room for anything. You don't have room in the cup for anything else. So you should always fill your cup from your big rocks down. So fill your cup with your big rocks because then they fit in. Then fill in those spaces with the smaller rocks and then pour the sand into your cup. And then you can get everything done and it's in your cup. But if you go in the other order, your big rocks aren't going to fit in there and you're not going to get them done on a daily basis and you're not going to move your business forward.
Trevor, you had a comment.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I am that's one of the required readings that my coach gave me, and I'm on the last chapter, and I will say it's amazing. Read that book. It's only 200 pages. I read a chapter every day to start my day, and it's inspirational, and it's a real eye opener, and it's really shed light on my not really my failures, but the things that I'm doing wrong that I need to change in my life to get to that next level.
Can I ask Trevor how did you find a coach?
At work, they finally said, hey, we're going to start a coaching program. So they got a bunch of us new people signed up, and they got somebody volunteered to do that for all of us.
Oh,
What
wonderful.
book are you guys talking about?
The one thing.
We'll put
I'll
it in the chat. Will, yeah, we'll put it in the chat.
You can buy it in audio too.
Wednesday, what market center are you in?
Well, let me see if I could try to make sure I got this right. I guess Meredith would be the market center, right? Or Portsmouth?
Okay,
I'm
so
not sure
Wednesday,
which.
you have access. Yeah, so you have access to a coach too. Tim Lindsay is our productivity coach, and you have unlimited access to him. And it's just meetwithcoach.com is his scheduler. So you can get on his calendar and do a 30-minute Zoom.
Awesome, thank you.
And he's going to get
Mark
back
Lesniak's
into.
been great, but I know I needed somebody who's officially does this in that capacity.
Yep, that's him.
So I do have a question.
All
if
right,
you don't mind.
guys. Sure.
So yeah, this is, that's probably reaching a bit, but how do you know how much business that you can handle in the beginning? So let's say I have 15 listings. How do I know that 16 is too much or 10 is too much?
Steven, if you have that problem, you come find me and we'll find you a solution. There's always a solution. So it's
Because
leverage.
MREA says the answer to this, guys. And if you joined our company, that team leader gave you that red book that looks just like this right here. And it tells you about how many transactions, according to our model and systems, how many transactions you get to where you're probably going to have to hire that person to offset.
Yep,
Okay,
and there's
thank
always
you.
ancillary, and there's always ancillary, like if you're not at a point in your business where you feel like you can make a hire, look into the market center level. At least at our market center, we have a transaction coordinator you can hire at a per deal basis. There's also a marketing person, so you can leverage that. So there's always a person that you could hire on more of an a la carte basis instead of making like a full-time hire. And there's virtual assistants too, which are a world of help. So some people have different tolerance too. So there is a model, but some people have a different tolerance for things that they're just not good at. So definitely don't be afraid to leverage those tasks out. So let's move on. Rhonda, E2P.
E2P, so move from entrepreneurial to purposeful is E2P. Step 4 is make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. Always be learning, always be striving to learn something new. Step number 5 is remove your limiting beliefs. We talked a lot about that a little bit earlier about mindset and getting those limiting beliefs out of your mind so that way you can take action. And step number 6 is be accountable. You can count on me. Be accountable to yourself, be accountable to your clients, be accountable to your family, be accountable to, to everything that you believe. So step 6 is being accountable. So again, this is a great course. I definitely suggest it for anybody just to take it. Also, we'll pop the name of that into the chat as well. And then also the one thing is the book that we were talking about, and Virginia might have already done that.
All right, guys, we're gonna kind of move quickly now. So creating a stellar experience. Rhonda's gonna get our slide here back up here. The 3 aspects of service: knowing the purpose of real estate, which we've already covered, the value proposition, your fiduciary role, all contribute to the same goal, ensuring the best experience for your client. What qualifies as an excellent real estate experience, and what services are you or your office responsible for providing? So if you guys could just give me a couple of examples, what qualifies as an excellent real estate experience based off of everything we've discussed up to this point? I need one. Just takes one.
Honesty.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Guidance.
So being honesty, guidance, qualifies.
Communication.
Yep.
Trustworthy. Fighting for the best interests of your client.
And how
Those
about
all
just making
knowledge.
it fun, right? How about just making the experience for them just a little fun? I say that to all the buyers that our team works with is we're going to make this as fun. This is a stressful process, yet we're going to add some fun in there and we're going to have fun with this. Like that's okay too.
Yep. You guys should also be developing relationships within the business in your town. People that you might need after they move, doctors, dentists, hairstylists, pet services. This not only enables you to provide excellent service for your clients during, but after they buy the house, right? So you are the local expert. If I'm coming into the area and I'm from Florida and I'm moving up here, I don't know of any of these. You guys are, the idea is people buy and sell homes. It used to be, 7 to 10 years. Now it's less than that. How are you staying in relationship with them from when you were when they got transactional to the next time they're going to get transactional? It's building your bench of allied resources and referrals that's going to continue to give them value. So it's like, hey, Rhonda, you know how that bathroom was kind of awful. I really need to renovate that bathroom. Who do you know that I can use? Rhonda should always have an answer. I've got a guy for that. I've got a gal for that. You need an attorney? I've got one of those. I always have. I may not be the direct resources what they need right then and there, but I have trusted resources that I've vetted that I'm going to refer them to. Always tell them that they can, get references on their own, but this is just a recommendation because I'm a local, they're trusting me because I'm their local expert. Another thought, this is what I did with buyer's binder when they close, picture of the property on the front, inspection report, appraisal, if you have it. All of the things that came up during any inspections, list of preferred vendors in there. This now lives with the house, and tell them there's other tabs in here where you can put receipts and other things to be organizing that. That's going to outlive your experience with them. If you have any questions on this book or you need another resource, please don't hesitate to reach out. But this is your homeowner's guide that I've created for you. So always upping your standard of care. All right, guys, let's move on here. Jamie, you wanted to ask the group for some ahas?
Yes, so far, we've thrown a lot at you. Why doesn't one or two people just share what knowledge, value have you received so far? What has been a big moment that you've had here, realization that is a takeaway for you so far?
I found that marketing towards my positives and not so much my negatives is beneficial.
Yeah. I mean, again, focus on what you bring to the table. Everybody brings something to the table here. And so focus on what you do know. Don't focus on what you don't know, because what you don't know can be taught and learned. Okay, great. Give me one more.
So for me, I have been realizing kind of fine tuning my goals more. Jamie, I know that you were in the Millionaire Real Estate class. I think it was actually you who I was talking to when you were kind of instructing, and I was like, I'm not even sure where my goals are because I have no idea where the limit is. And you were like, well, there really is, like, it depends, we talked through that, but I think that for me personally, it's realizing it's not like I'm kind of coming like this with my goals. I'm narrowing in instead of trying to find a cap. I'm narrowing in on the field that I want to focus my goals on. And I think that's been really important to me in this class.
So what you're kind of experiencing, by the way, is the E to P. The entrepreneurial, you're getting very defined and purposeful about what you want, why you're here, and what your goals are. And I'll tell you, when you go through this process and you start to define, it's going to get scary. It's going to get scary because you're going to have to do things that you didn't have to do before. You're going to have to commit to self-mastery. You're going to have to focus on your 20%. And for the next 25, 30 minutes, we're going to talk about 3 things, which is you need to build your database. You need to talk about scripts because you need to be able to memorize your scripts. You need to customize them so that it actually sounds like you. And then you need to internalize them that they become so natural so that you're not like a robot when you're talking to a buyer or seller, and it flows so naturally because you know who you are, but you knew what your goals were. And then we'll finish up with the lead generating. If you don't lead generate, get out of the business. And everyone's form of lead generating, by the way, is not picking up the phone. The lead generating bubble is any way that you can let somebody know that you're not a secret agent, but that you can help them buy, sell, invest, and rent in real estate. Now, whether that's picking up the phone, whether that's Facebook posts, whether that's sending an email, whether it's at networking events, book club, grocery store. Darwin and I were just practicing. You're in a grocery store, you wear your name badge. Most people will say, hey, Rhonda, you're in real estate, Keller Williams. We see those signs everywhere. How's the market? If you haven't learned the script and customized it and internalized it to say, well, the market's great, but it depends. Are we talking about the selling market or are we talking about the buyer market right now? Now I just kind of brought them into a real purposeful conversation, did I not? Otherwise, if I just answer with like, I know it's crazy, right? You don't need a real estate license to answer that. Right? So Courtney, thank you for saying that. I'd like to move forward though, because for the next 20 minutes, we want to talk about these 3 areas. And then I think we could probably end, Virginia and Rhonda, on if entering contact and a little bit of the command platform that we said maybe we would show. So okay. I think we can just probably go right into this one. All right, so I'll talk about this slide and then we can move on maybe with scripts with Rhonda and Virginia. So we all know if you've been going through this program that you're supposed to add 10 contacts a day. You're supposed to have 10 conversations a day, maybe 10 handwritten note cards or letters, and look at 10 homes a week. Now, I don't know about what state you're in, but I know that in my area, we just actually opened up Broker Caravan again, which is listings that come to market with in your market center or your brokerage or within the community. They put something together and we go preview homes. That would count. If new homes come to market and you have no buyers, go to open houses on Sunday. Get to know your competitors. Get to know the relationships, because listen, if Virginia came into all my open houses and has never sold a house, but every open house that I had, I always saw Virginia coming through, great personality, you know, she wants it. And then I get an offer one day with 50 other offers from Virginia. That's going to help because I'm going to be like, oh, Virginia is driven. She previews the properties. She must have brought her clients after she saw it. There's an advantage of doing things like that. The handwritten notes, again, if you're not that lead generating person where you're picking up the phone, handwritten notes could probably be Facebook. It could be an email or the handwritten note. Conversations. Text. Yeah, text, perfect, text. Conversations is these, don't be a secret agent. I don't know if you know, but I can help you buy, sell, invest, and rent in real estate. Have those conversations purposefully. Please don't say this. I just have to take a side note. Don't say that I'm in real estate. I'm an agent. I'm a real estate agent. I don't know what that means. Okay, just like when an attorney says, hey, I'm an attorney. And he could be my friend, he could be my neighbor. What do you do? Oh, I'm an attorney. Oh, okay. And then one day I'm looking for an attorney that practices real estate law, and I had no idea he specialized in that. That's not my fault. He didn't tell me. So you got to be purposeful. Okay, I'm a real estate agent with Keller Williams, and I can help you buy, sell, invest, rent. I could refer you to this. You got to explain to them what you can do for them, a small elevator speech, in order to be successful. So let's move to the next slide. And Rhonda and Virginia, if you guys want to talk about scripts and role play.
Yeah, we're going to share Yeah, we're gonna put a script up here. Rhonda, after we go through this, is gonna share the Ignite script book in the chat. So if you guys don't have that yet, download it, print it. Okay, so coming from my personal experience, I hated scripts. Script is just a word. Scripts are words that you say. Everything can be a script. Whether
All right.
you're used to saying it, you created it, or you're studying something.
All right, I don't know what I did with it. Hold on, keep talking. Keep talking. It's just take me a minute. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah, so script is just a word for words that training yourself. Again, we were talking about FSBOs earlier, right? It's like it's overcoming objections. It's objection handling. It's let me understand more about that, right? Can you zoom in a little bit more, Rhonda? Do you mind?
I don't mind even a little.
All right, so this is the one of them that we took directly out of the Ignite script book that you guys are going to have access to, and we're going to put in the chat. So this is me calling and telling someone that I'm in real estate, right? This is someone that I've met, that I know, that I'm calling to let them know. Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, Rhonda, this is Virginia Frost. How have you been? It's been forever since we've talked.
Oh, hey, Virginia. So nice to hear from you. I'm doing great. I'm doing great. How about you? How's your family?
Oh, family is great. You know, the world's opening back up again. We're definitely eating out too much because we finally can. How's your family? What's going on in your world?
Oh, we're same. We're doing great. We're doing well. Kids are here on vacation this week. So we're just trying to, soak in a little bit of the summer here.
Yeah, I mean, it's short-lived where we are, so you got to soak it up while you can, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, I also wanted to reach out to you because I wanted to share something that I'm super excited about. I actually just got my real estate license and I'm with Keller Williams Coastal Realty. And I thought of you because I know that you would be someone to help me grow my business. I'm trying to grow my business organically through people that I know and through the people that I know, the people that they know, just so I can help. Would that be something you're willing to help me do?
Well, first of all, Virginia, congratulations. That's awesome. And yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to help you in any way I can. Tell me how I can help.
Honestly, I can help people buy, sell, invest, or rent in real estate. And I just come from a really educational place. So I would just, if you know of anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest or rent, I would love just to be connected with them so that I could offer them my expertise and my help.
That's awesome. Well, absolutely. If I'm thinking about it right now, I don't know if I have anybody right now that I can think of yet. I would love to, let you know that if I hear of anybody, I'll absolutely reach out to you and then give them your contact information. That would be awesome.
I appreciate that so much. Do you mind if I just update your email address in my system so I can keep you my new system that I'm so excited about because I'm in real estate and I just want to give you market updates on your neighborhood?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Awesome. Perfect. I've got your email right here and I will make sure to keep in contact. Thank you so much for helping me build my business. I appreciate that.
Thanks for calling, Virginia. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Sounds good. Bye, Rhonda.
Bye, Virginia. They were super easy and friendly.
Yeah. So, and you guys have to remember too, this happened to be a phone call, but when you're on the phone, you lose, like if you, I forget the division, but basically people only hear 7% of what you actually say. That the inflection of your voice, your facial expressions, those are all the things that come across the most powerfully. That's why video is amazing. So, and not that you guys need another thing added to your thing, but if you've considered Loom or BombBomb, they're all videos that you can, like video programs that you can send video to people as well. Just like, and maybe I would just, I had a phone call with Rhonda. I would send her a follow-up email. Thank you so much for taking my call today. I really appreciate your willingness to help me build my business. If there's anything that I could possibly do for you or kids, I know that you have a crazy busy summer. Please don't hesitate to reach out, right? That could be typed in an email, or that could be a little BombBomb video that I send to her and she'll see my smiling face and she'll see my body movement and I can deliver that message via video to her and make it personal to her. So that's an example of one of the many scripts that you guys have access to. So, and I don't do scripts all the time. So you can sound that even I sounded a little weird. But you know what? If it's the first time the words have come out of your mouth, it's going to sound weird. By the end of this, I want to just have a raise of hands. If any of you don't have script partners and you guys want them, just because we're all in the region. So you don't need to live next to each other to call somebody once a day to go over scripting. So if you guys want to pair off into script partners, I'd love to help you guys connect. All right, so where are we next?
So I think we're gonna just, with the scripts, we can do breakout sessions or we can just kind of do it through here because of time. But we just do want to mention the do not call list, guys. If you are going to make phone calls to non-friends and family, okay? So if it's not a personal call about business and it's a business call to strangers, you do have to check their phone numbers against the do not call list. Keller Williams has sent you emails right from Keller Williams, KWRI, saying that this is a huge fine in every state. And for a lot of you who are like, where do I find that? The do not call registry, go Google it. Every state is different. Please go talk to your MCA, director of first impression, coach, team leader. We all have the link to it. And we really want you to, your fiduciary responsibility is to not get sued. And so you please double check those phone numbers if you are lead generating around just sold, just listed, or making calls with people you don't know.
And guys, one thing I just want to touch about that script is that, did you notice at the end, I updated Rhonda's contact information. I obviously had her phone number. I knew her personally, but why would I have ever emailed Rhonda, right? I probably wouldn't have had her email if we just are friends. So I asked her permission to take her email address so I can send her, you know, updates and market updates. So I'm also keeping in the back of my mind, updating my database and follow up. Right? I already had a plan to follow up with her with an email thanking her for grabbing my call. So one touch is an excuse to have an intentional conversation about updating your database and creating a follow-up plan. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you guys how to add a contact and keep that up to date. Does everybody see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is home screen in Command, and the little person in the box in the left-hand corner is where I go to access my contacts. So I'm gonna go into my contacts. This is the first time I called Rhonda to tell her that I am in real estate. So I'm gonna go to add a contact, the big blue button on the top right-hand corner here. Add contact. She's gonna be Rhonda M because her last name is a doozy. And we're just going to, Rhonda, rattle off your email.
Yep. So it's R Messenborg. So R MESEN BOURG at kw.com. And it's just one S, Virginia.
Ooh. See, this is why I did Rhonda M. Devil is in the details. I can save this with just an email. You guys should be saving this with as much information as I know about this person as possible. Rhonda, what's your phone number?
401-326-2928.
So how did I contact this person, right? Lead source. Maybe it's Sphere. Spelling. And you can create a custom lead search, custom lead source. So maybe I have a connection with Rotary or I have a connection with my kid's school. It helps you guys isolate, okay, what's my return on investment of this organization that I am putting my time into? Well, I've got this many contacts that I've got here from the Rotary. So now I know that it's a worthwhile investment of my time. Tags, let's see, for instance, Rotary. So if I knew, I can create custom tags here. I met Rhonda at the Rotary. Now she's in there as Rotary. And I'm just going to put this in here. So I have here agent, leadership, and I'm going to create. So now that she's in she's part of my people. Every time I talk to her, I want to be logging my activity. So I talked to Rhonda today. So I'm going to add, sorry, I tend to do without saying, add an activity in the top right-hand corner. If you have the ability to call from your device, you can call directly through Command and it will log it automatically. But I'm kind of old-fashioned, I pick up the phone. So I called her on today's date and I can say, We talked about family and summer. And I told her I'm in real estate. Right. So now every time I go back, when was the last time I talked to Rhonda? I wonder, because I'm going to give her a call. Oh, it was July 9th. What did we talk about? Oh, okay. We just did a, you know, I told her I was in real estate and we talked about family and summer. Great. It's helping me be more personal with Rhonda. Every time I call her, if there's more information to add, you can add, like you can add birthdays. Sometimes I add in their spouse name you can add in here. Of course, you can link two people together. We're not going to get stuck in the weeds. I just want, when you guys are contacting people, to let them know you're in real estate, while you're doing that, have command open, add them in as a contact so that you're prompted, oh, you know, I don't have their email. Maybe I need to add that, because all the automation for smart plans talks to email, talks to text with phone. So you need to have that information in order to love on them. Okay. So that's just a brief how you add a contact, how you add an activity that you've communicated with that person. And when you go back to contacts, and you guys have, obviously, you have a ability to get training through this too, but you can filter, right? So I can filter by tags. I only want to see my Rotary tag, my people, my Rotary people. Oh, look, there's Rhonda. But what if I had 15 Rotary people? Okay.
Will it automatically alphabetize it?
Oh,
I think you maybe click on the top there to sort it or something, perhaps.
Let's see. All contacts. So it is automatically alphabetized.
Okay.
And you can, if you click recently contacted, I want to know how many humans I talked to today. I can see how many humans recently active.
Virginia, humans versus.
I don't know.
You know, you're close to 12 o'clock when you're like, humans.
The humans, the beating hearts, the beating hearts.
But I feel like sometimes with the new agents, you get overwhelmed and say, you know, I just started in real estate and I don't have a lot of clients. How many of you feel that way? Okay, do me a favor. Go into your iPhone for a minute. If you have an iPhone, if you have a Samsung, please enjoy the music while you wait, because I only know how to do it on an iPhone. So on an iPhone, at the bottom of the screen, I want you to hit contacts. And when you hit contacts, I want you to scroll up all the way to the last contact that you have. What do you see at the end? Some of you are laughing.
172.
172.
Much.
What else do we have? What number?
500.
500, 1357. What else?
454.
Okay. Those contacts are your potential clients. Okay. That's where you start. You use the script that they just did and role played for you. And when you call somebody and you say, Will, thank you so much for taking my call today. You know, let me ask you, I have your updated phone number. Can you give me your updated email that you currently use today? Boom. Now the 484, the 1300, those are your contacts. If you have no business, even if you closed a quarter of your contacts, even if you closed one of your contacts in business, is it worth it? Yes, because you shouldn't be afraid to pick up the phone of the people that you like and know. Now, if you're afraid to pick up the phone of the strangers, that's a different conversation. You never knew that you could see how many contacts that you had on your phone, did you?
All right,
So
let's, oh, sorry.
So I just moved domain. So I have 156 contacts and not a one of them is somebody I can actually sell to here in Maine. How would you go about increasing that?
Oh, Virginia, that's on you. Go.
Well, So I've sat with Stephen, and I said, where are they all located? And my recommendation for anyone who is not from the area, or even people who are from the area and you have contacts in other parts of the country or other states, there's nothing saying that you can't reach out to that person and say, hey, how are you? Do the forward, right? Family, occupation. What's the RD?
Dreams.
Dreams.
Recreation.
Art.
Recreation.
Recreation. What do you enjoy doing? Something about their family. Where do they work? Or dreams. So having a care call, right? Starting it off with a care call. How have you been? We haven't touched base in forever. The world's opening up again. What does your world look like? And going into forward. And then say, it's inevitable, it's human nature. Like, how have you been? Like, what's going on? Like, oh, well, I recently moved to Maine and I've gotten my real estate license and I'm super excited about it. And, it's a little difficult for me up here because I just moved to a new area, but I know you and I have a really big network down near you. So if you know of anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest, like I can help refer them to the right people, right? Not all agents are created equal. So I may not be able to help them based off the state that you live in, but that doesn't mean that I can't be the liaison. I can't be the person who goes to work for them and finds the right agent for them to work with in your area. And that helps build your referral business. And guess what? When you connect with agents in that area, you can say, hey, if you ever have somebody coming up here, I've referred you business. If you ever have someone coming up to Maine, consider connecting me. And then as far as getting, other contacts in your area, you guys got to get out there, right? So what are you passionate about? Do you like to play basketball? If you do, look into community, men's league or women's league and see if there's groups of people based off of what you already enjoy doing, and turn what you already enjoy doing into a driver for your business. I like to cook. I chat with an agent over COVID and like, I don't know how to interact. And they're like, but I said, what do you like to do? What are you passionate about? Well, I like to cook. Awesome. Why don't you jump on Facebook Live and show somebody how to make something? Bake a cake, make a noodle dish, you know what I mean? And then people are interacting. They're like, hey guys, I'm in real estate, but hey, the world shut down. So today I'm just going to teach you how to make Alfredo. You know what I mean? Like, it's just interacting with people, or join groups on Facebook, create groups on Facebook. Homework, everybody, wherever you live in your neighborhoods, I want you to go on Facebook and I want you to look and see if there is a community neighborhood page specific to your neighborhood on Facebook. If there isn't, jump on that, create one, be the person who's creating community within your community.
Nextdoor is another option too. Have you heard of Nextdoor? I just wanted to mention that I'm originally from Cape Cod and the Plymouth area in Massachusetts, and I purchased land up here in the fall. So I've been up here and I'm building a home. I've made a lot of contacts up here, but my whole life is Massachusetts. So I'm going to reach out. I'm still waiting for my license, unfortunately. It's probably going to be at least another 3 weeks. So, but I've reached out to let people know that I passed my, licensing exam and that I joined Keller. I'm sorry. I joined Keller Williams. So there are people that I know that are getting ready to sell. So I can provide them a referral for somebody in Massachusetts. And then also somebody wants to purchase land up here to build a log cabin, have a vacation getaway that I know from Cape Cod. So already in one day, when I first started the Ignite training, one day, the first day, I found somebody who I now have to find land for, just waiting for that license to come in. But I did find it resourceful, even from where I'm from. And although I'm up here and my license is here, I still was able to get some leads. Yeah. And I also have a friend who's selling a home, over $1 million home in Massachusetts, in Falmouth. So I have that referral as well.
That's great. I think I'm not sure the first person that talked about that you had 150 contacts, but you moved to a different state and you're not selling in that state. Guys, everybody that you're friendly with or that's in your friendship and family circle, they all want to help and support you. Those are the 2 words I think you should write on a piece of paper. And when you call somebody, I would call Virginia and say, hey, Virginia, it's Jamie. How are you? And then she's like, hey, how are you doing? And I say, great. Listen, do you have 5 minutes? Okay, and then yes, but great. I just got my real estate license and I'm working with Keller Williams and I need your help and support. Now, help is a direct line, okay? So I need your help, meaning help means it right now. Do you know, or who do you know, right? Word choice here. Don't say, do you know? Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, invest, and rent in real estate? They're going to take a minute to think and say, I don't know. If you did know, who would it be? I still don't know. Okay. I need your support. Everybody wants to support you. They just don't know how. And to be honest, they don't care about how to help you unless you tell them how you can be helped. So if you say, you can't help me right now, right? So you say, well, I need your support. If I sent you a text message about how, you know, your cousin or your friend is in real estate, would you copy paste that on your Facebook account and just tag me in on it? That would really help and support my business right now as I start to grow in real estate. If they're not a technology person, support. If I sent you an email, would you be willing to forward that email to your database to help support my business as a real estate agent? Or whatever your support is going to be, right? I'm going to send you 25 business cards with your name on the back. If you hand those out to people and that referral comes back, and I'm going to be very careful about saying this, and that referral comes back to me in Virginia, sent those clients to me, my cousin Virginia, I'm going to properly thank you for helping and supporting my business. Now, what does properly thank you mean? It does not mean that cash money is going to Virginia. It's illegal, okay? I can't give you cash. However, I can properly thank Virginia by sending her a gift card, maybe to her favorite diner, or buy her edible flowers, or send a wine basket, whatever I properly do, but it's not cash, and this is recorded and I'm just making sure. But the help and support is huge, guys, because I want to support, I want to help my friends, but life's so crazy. I don't know what Rhonda needs, Virginia needs, Jim needs, Courtney needs. But if Courtney says to me, hey, Jane, you got a minute? Listen, I need your help and support. Who do you know that's looking to buy, sell, invest, and rent? I'm like, ugh. I actually don't know. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. If you think of somebody, please let me know. But I need your support. Yeah, sure. What can I do for you? Can you copy paste this on Facebook? Can you send this email? If I give you these business cards, they just want to be told how they can support you. And then they're going to choose whether or not they can actually implement what you're trying to ask of them. Make sense?
Another one I had that was my favorite one that came out of Bold when I first did it, when I first started, was competition. That one was fun. So, hey, Jamie, I'm in this class right now, right? You guys are in Ignite right now. I'm in this class right now, learning about how to, and learning about how to help people in real estate. And there's a competition that I need to talk to the most people about real estate. Do you know anyone that I could call right now that I could have a conversation with about helping them buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Because I want to win. Oh, and then people they're like, it's a competition. What are you going to win? You know what I mean? What are you going to win? Well, I'm going to win business, right? I'm going to be the top dog. I'm going to have made the most conversations with people in real estate, and I'm super competitive. So I would really appreciate your help in this. When I used that script in Bold, I got a listing, and I never would have reached out to my friend. Her mom was thinking about selling and she didn't know I was in real estate. It was so new. And I said, hey, I'm in this competition and I've got to have as many conversations with people who might be interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate. Do you have anybody I can call? She's like, yeah, but you got to give me a piece of whatever that prize is.
Guys, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. And don't think for other people. Write that on your sheet. Don't think for other people. Don't think about how Joanne's going to feel when I call her and interrupt her dinner, her lunch, her this. You're self-sabotaging yourself. I don't think for other people. Trust me. You could call me after this Ignite and I'm not hanging up the phone and talking about you again. I can't believe Will called me to be a script partner. That's so crazy. Guys, they're not doing that. It's the stuff that you're telling yourself.
Well, and if it helps you guys too, before you reach out to anybody, before you send that handwritten card, before you make that phone call, remind yourself that you are a trusted resource. You have access to information that these other people don't, and you're coming to them with contribution. Because how bad would it suck if someone that you knew, you see, oh, I just sold my house. Like, oh, hey, I just saw that it's like a gut punch, right? It's like, oh, they sold their house and they didn't think of me. Oh, because they didn't know I was licensed, because I didn't make that phone call to say, hey, this is how you can help me in my business. And on top of that, because this happened to me, they dished and they had a horrible experience. And I take that personally, that I wasn't the one to ensure that they would have had an amazing experience. So you are here to come from contribution to help someone in one of the biggest transactions of their lifetime.
And you're here to make money. So Virginia,
it's a byproduct.
That was a $500,000 property at 5%, so 12,500. And if you're at Keller Williams on a 70-30 split and 6% for royalty, when you do the math on all this, that's an $8,000 commission check that just went out the window because you wanted to be a secret agent, didn't want to tell people. It's a financial lesson. You're in this entrepreneurial for a reason. Own it. Own it.
Can I just add something real quick?
Sure.
One of you guys mentioned something about Facebook groups. And so I just happened to go on Facebook and I quickly typed in my neighborhood and I found out my whole neighborhood has its own Facebook group. So I'm gonna use that to my advantage now. Yeah. That's a good idea.
Will's implementing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Really quickly, guys, because our time is fleeting. Can we pull up the slides? You guys need to make a success list. And Jamie, this was yours, so I have nothing to say about it. I just know we got. All
right. I'm going to finish it up, guys. Okay, so we talked about getting ready to get ready and all of the things. And if you do go and get the One Thing book, there's 2 lists in life. Your success list is the only list that you should care about. It's the list that you're going to do when you should do it. It's a priority and a task. So based on the 3 hours of being with us 3 lovely ladies, you have learned a lot today. So what are you going to implement? Will success list said, I'm going to go onto Facebook, I'm going to find a group, and I'm going to do something about it. So what is Will going to do about it? And your job before we leave today is to take a couple of minutes. We're going to share 1 or 2. And what are you adding to your success list that you are going to own? You're going to prioritize it, implement it, and do based on everything that we learned today. So take a minute, and then we're going to ask for 2 to close up today's Ignite training.
And I think Falasha also has her hand raised too, so we'll make sure we get to that as well.
Perfect.
All right, we're starting to see more eyeballs raised from pages here.
Love it.
And if you guys are inspired and you have a whole list of things that you want to implement, please don't let me talking distract you from completing that list. But can we get 2 people? Maybe Falasha can start because she already has her hand raised.
Sure, I can start. So on my list, to complete my profile on command, the 10 handwritten notes, now that I know that they don't necessarily have to be handwritten, I'm going to create a post and a video and ask everyone on my social media account to repost it and give them like a little thing. But I already created the post actually while I was in Canva, and it just says like what I do, who I am. I'm a realtor and I can help you buy, sell, rent, or invest in property in Massachusetts. So, and then like a little caption to go with it. And that was it. That's as far as I got. And then I looked up you guys. But what I put my hand up for originally was to share that because I lived in Jamaica and my business was primarily in Jamaica initially, I just assumed that they weren't contacts that I could reach out to. And then just last night, I got a message from one of my previous clients in my DM on Instagram asking me, to what extent am I involved in real estate? Because she just accepted a position in Boston, in Newton, and she needs a place ASAP because she's staying in the Marriott Hotel. So if I had remained a secret agent or just didn't share that information or created a new page like other people suggested, she probably wouldn't have known that I was now an agent, a realtor here in Massachusetts. So we should never assume, we should just always share.
Love it. And you said you're from Jamaica. I believe, don't we have a KW in Jamaica, ladies?
You do, you do.
Love it.
You do.
Use those resources there. That's growth share, everybody.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard it. She goes, oh, yeah. Get busy. Somebody else, can we please share one of your priorities in terms of your success list of what you're going to do and implement?
Trevor.
Share just one of them, you said?
One.
Well, my first one would be to lead generate 4 hours every day, Monday through Friday, at least 4 hours.
Okay, good.
That's an awesome one, and it's difficult. So make sure that you time block.
All right, one more, and then we're gonna wrap it up. Somebody we
Joy.
haven't heard from, maybe.
I'll go. Okay, I just put that I would really like to start going to more open houses on a weekly basis. And definitely the QR code. I didn't even know about that. So I definitely want to look into that, how to do it, and to call my contacts, which I haven't done yet either. So.
Okay, and I would break that down, by the way. I would chunk down the contacts and say, maybe today, look up how to make a QR code. And then maybe tomorrow, master, calling 5 contacts, and be realistic, by the way. Don't go big and say, I'm going to add 50 to my database. I mean, that's great. That's like me saying I'm gonna lose 50 pounds by Sunday. Not gonna happen. However, I am going to do this, this, and this to, right? So I would just chunk it down a little bit and say maybe 5 contacts today, and then get more and more and more. But I love it. I love it.
Yeah, no, this has been great today. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys for staying on the whole time and participating at a high level with your cameras on. And those of you who didn't have their cameras on, thank you, because I know a lot of you did say that there was multiple things going on in your environment, which we appreciate, the less of the distractions. And Virginia and Rhonda, I love you guys. And so thank you for co-hosting with all of us today.
So fun. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great
day. And I put my email in the chat. I put my email in the chat as well. If anybody needs anything at all, just like you guys shouldn't be secret agents, you don't go at it alone. Like, you guys have such a world of support here. And the only bad thing you can do is not reach out and tell us what you need, because that is what we are here to do. Get you guys big businesses. So let us help you.
So reach out to Virginia first, then Rhonda, then Jamie. Love you guys. Good luck.
Underachiever.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. See you Monday.
See you Monday.